Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV. My name's Bernie Weemers and we're here as always to cover the Australian GT3 Championship, and it's round 3 tonight, coming to you from Suzuka in Japan. I'd like to introduce my co-host, Adrian Jarvis. How are you going tonight, Adrian?
Yeah, I'm going great, Bernie. It's going to be a cracker here at Suzuka, enjoying this track. I'd be out there if I could, but I'm up here with you, Bernie, and I've got to listen to you tonight, so that's going to be a task in itself, I think.
Oh, gee, thanks, mate. Yeah, so round 3 tonight at Suzuka, and the race will be an 80-minute race. It's going to no minimum pit stop requirement. However, we do know they will have to pit once for fuel. Tyres, well, that's up to the drivers whether they take tyres or not, and last week at Sonoma it was quite interesting to see what happened with the tyre wear and which cars are affected, wasn't it, Adrian?
Yeah, it certainly was, Bernie. It was quite interesting. We know the Macca's are a little bit heavier on the tyre wear, so they started to struggle right at the end. So, but you do get penalised for taking them, so it was a gamble either way, and obviously the setup in the Macca's weren't quite good enough for them to hold out throughout that race.
Yeah, it was quite interesting because the Macca's were quite strong earlier on, but as we know, they're harder on their tyres, and they definitely struggled towards the end of that race, and we definitely saw a change of advantage, I guess, going towards the BMW.
Yeah, it certainly did, Bernie, and it did bring in a lot of exciting racing last week, so I'm sure this is going to bring it up again tonight here at Suzuka. It's a very hot track, but you know, not a couple of big long straights there for the Macca's to stretch his legs, and the consistency, but even the rough tonight, Bernie, looks like it's going to be a bit competitive too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the rough goes, because it hasn't had as much love shared on it this season as the McLaren did, but saying that, the McLaren needed quite a bit of a tune-up. So looking... okay, incident cap limit, interesting, 25 tonight in this 80-minute race, and if they exceed that they will be disqualified. So we haven't seen any guys disqualified yet for exceeding that, but it doesn't take much in 80 minutes to get it that high, does it?
No, it doesn't, and around Suzuka, cutting a couple of corners, so you can certainly bring that up, so the guys are going to have to be wary of that for 80 minutes.
Yeah, that's right, and I understand we've got a bit of a treat for our viewers tonight. We're going to do a bit of a hot lap with Tim Ballinger in the Ford GT3.
Yes, we are, so we might get him to go on the way. We'll find out where he is and get him up to speed, and we'll jump on board with him in a couple of moments.
Yeah, no worries. I've got him down here sitting on the side of the track waiting for us, just before the final chicane by the looks of it.
Certainly is, so I'll just go and grab him for us, and we'll get him going.
Yeah, so we're swapping now to Tim Ballinger, and he will give us a hot lap around Suzuka in the Ford GT3. So folks, crank up your volume and enjoy the drive.
Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the Carnet Ford GT3. We'll do a lap of Suzuka. Right, here we go down the main straight. We'll be looking up the 6th gear. Around 250 kilometres an hour. Back to 4th, double apex corner. Down to 3rd. Back in, stepped out there. Now into the S is the technical part of the track. You've got to hold it in 3rd gear through here, and you just play with the brake and the throttle, trying to get your line right, compromising every corner as you go to get and run onto the next one. Still in 3rd gear. Feeding the power in gently. The back wants to step out all the way through this section. Up to 5th. Now we'll be hard on the brakes back to 3rd. Try not to take too much curb. Brake early back to 2nd. Try and bring the power in gently so it doesn't step out. Now we head down to the hairpin. Fourth gear, one of the hard braking points, back to first. Again, gentle on the throttle, trying to get that power down without the back letting go on you. Now we go up into the two left-handers called spoon. They're off camber corners. You've got to tuck it in tight. Very easy for the car to push wide through this section. Back to third gear for the first one. Trying to tuck it in, gentle power. Back to second, trying to get in on the apex. Now gently feed that power in or it will step out. Now onto the back straight. Fastest part of the track uphill, wind it into sixth gear. Now we go up to the most dangerous point, the R130. We'll have a dab of the brake, back to fifth and throw it through. Now for another hard braking point, back to first gear for the chicane. Trying to take a bit of curb, but not too much. Feeding the power in, and that's a lap of Suzuka.
Fantastic, and thanks Tim for doing that lap. What's the before we let you go, what's the Ford GT3 like around Suzuka?
Not too bad, bit understeery, Bernie. The biggest problem I've had getting the setup right is actually getting it to ride the curbs around here. It's very stiff chassis, and especially going through I can't remember the name of the corners. The two left-handers up on the back section there. If you touch the curb, it just throws the car violently out on you. So there's more pace to be had if we could get it to ride the curbs. But like I said, we got a penalty from last week, starting rear of the field, and just hoping to work our way through as we go.
All right, well, best of luck with that. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on you as the broadcast goes on, that's for sure. And once again, Tim, thanks for doing a hot lap around Suzuka in the Ford GT3.
No worries. Hello to all the viewers, and thanks to everyone for watching, and thanks for the opportunity, Bernie, and we'll catch us at the end. No
worries, mate. Well, Adrian, that was pretty entertaining, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. Cold tyres there, I think. Sort of got a little bit of a drift action there, getting into turn one, but that's what the boys will have to look for in the first lap, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And folks, we've got 20 minutes of qualifying to go yet, and we will give you the results of that as we go through it. But let's have a look at our track. So we're at Suzuka running the Grand Prix configuration. Total of 17 turns, 6 kilometres. The sky out there is clear, but they've got quite a high wind speed of 20 kilometres an hour and a very high, well, a high track temp of 38 degrees Celsius. So that's going to be interesting to see how they go with that sort of track temp tonight.
Yeah, certainly will, Bernie. I think we've mentioned it plenty of times before. As the track temperature gets up into that around the 38 degrees and above, it's just like racing in the rain. The track is so slick, and these cars get quite a bit of a handful driving in this sort of weather.
Yeah, that's right, and we'll just see how they go with that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at the point score of the championship, because it was quite interesting last week. So let's have a look at the point score. So at the moment, Baden Reed in the rough RT12R track is leading the way on 70 points, but he's equal with Lewis Kugeley in the BMW Z4. Lewis drives for Blackadder Motorsport, and he's on 70 points. Riley Blythe in third at the moment in a McLaren, 68 points. Timothy Schweck sitting in fourth in a McLaren on 60 points. Then we've got Colin Schweck, his brother, and Adam Funslow, both on equal fifth on 57 points. Sixth is Simon Feigl. Keep an eye on Simon. He's proven quite the talent out there, especially last week he got drive of the day and drove through the field. So he's on 55. In eighth, Gary Hamilton, the BMW Z4 on 55. He was last week's winner, so we'll see how he goes tonight. Ninth is Richard Brookfield on 54 points, and rounding out our top 10 is John Barry in the BMW Z4 on 54 points. So the point score looks pretty tight out there, Adrian.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's good. the champion. I know championship. I know we've only in round 3, but points being this close already is a good sign. No one's got a clear-cut gap at the moment, and you know, I think this championship is going to be open to that. We know the Mac is quite strong at the moment, but it's good to see, like, we've got a BMW up there with Lewis, and you know, it's good to see that these cars are still up there and given a good shot. So definitely interesting racing this season.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's great to see the last 3 rounds and the tracks we've run. It's been interesting to see how the 3 different cars handled it. Last week we thought the Macca was going to be pretty strong, but it turned out it was very expensive on tyres at Sonoma, and the guys really struggled towards the end of that race.
Yeah, they certainly did, and it just shows that element of excitement in it, so I'm happy to see that. So it just makes it so much more enjoyable for us as commentators, but also as viewers, you know, get them into it and see how hard these guys are driving the cars and right on the limit. And the Mac has still got that little twitch in it. It's sort of taken over from the rough, hasn't it, Bernie? It's gets a little bit twitchy, but you get it set up properly, and that thing's a rocket ship.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we also found last week as the race went on and the McLarens faded, the BMWs didn't seem to have that much trouble. And we're looking on the screen at the moment, Simon Feigl, he's sitting 7th in the championship, and he had a great run last week at Sonoma, and no doubt he's looking at capitalising that again tonight.
Yeah, he certainly will, and I see a little bit of gamesmanship here. There are a couple of guys I know, they've pulled over to the side, so just thought they might have been drafting there, but obviously it's an open qualifying here, so getting a bit of a draft will help your lap times, but if you can get in the right position, it's definitely bump you up in your position here tonight.
Yeah, it certainly will, and at the moment Scott Tamlin in the Martini 333 rough, he's just set preliminary pole with the 2 minutes 7.74, so that's a pretty good time there for the rough driver. We'll just have a look at our top 10 in qualifying at the moment. So Scott Tamlin leads the way, and then look at all those McLarens. Aaron Osborne in second, 1/1000th of a second down. 2/1000ths of a second down is Timothy Schweck in a McLaren. Then Adam Funslow in fourth. 5th is Zach Hanlon. 6th, Lewis Kugley, the first of the BMWs. He's 2/10ths of a second down, I think it is. 7th is Adam Newton in a McLaren. Colin Schweck, 8th. 9th, Baden Reed in a rough. And rounding out our top 10 with a lot of work to do is Gary Hamilton. But saying that, if we look at the top 10, Adrian, that you can hardly throw a piece of paper between them at this stage.
Well, that's it, Bernie. I mean, you can go to the top 10 and they're all under a second apart. Again, this is what's happened last week too, Bernie. These guys are that good. You know, the top 10 guys are within a second. So that's awesome stuff, and all different makes in there. We've got a few Maccas in there, but we've got the rough and we've got the BMW in there. So, you know, it's still not one-sided.
Oh no, we've got quite a mix, and the McLarens again tonight are dominating the top 10 in qualifying at the moment, but as we said earlier, anything can happen in this 80-minute race, and it'll be interesting to see how their tyres wear around this track.
Yeah, it shouldn't be as harsh, I don't think. You know, Suzuka isn't as harsh as Sonoma. Sonoma's quite a harsh track on tyres, so we'll see how well the Macca goes. We've heard the stories that the Macca's probably a little bit harder on tyres than the Res, but you've got to have a weakness somewhere on a car, and unfortunately you don't want it on your tyres, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's probably one of the areas you don't want it, but as we see one of the BMWs there getting a bit loose and sliding off the track. But fortunately, folks, this is sim racing, so he can always jump back in a fresh, brand new car for qualifying.
Yeah, that's the great thing about iRacing, isn't it, Benny? little expense to lay out to get involved and get into this e-sport, and a lot of fun when you can throw your car around and you smash into the wall, you walk away, come back to the pits, and you've got a brand new car. So no, it's a great little sport here we've got with iRacing, and love it. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's hard work, and you know, you get everything all wrapped up in one, don't you?
Oh, you certainly do, and the best thing is it allows a lot of guys to go motor racing who could not afford to do this in real world, I guess you could say. Like, how many of us could afford to drive a McLaren GT3? I know for one I couldn't, and I'm sure a lot of other guys out there probably couldn't either.
I can't even afford to stand next to one, Bernie. That's how broke I am. So, you know, I'm sure they'd probably charge you a lot of money just to go and have a look at one. But, yeah, no, these things are great. And, you know, iRacing is probably the top simulated racing game that I call it a game, Bernie. That's a sin in this. It's not a game. It is a sport. And that's what we treat it as, because it is hard work, and to get anywhere in here you've got to put a lot of hard work in to make these things quick, and that's what these boys do. I mean, the hours they spend on these cars to get the setups right for tonight is phenomenal. So, but they do a great job, and some of the guys are aliens, and it only takes them 5 minutes and they're off and racing. But for me, Bernie, I've got to spend hours and hours and hours on here. Yeah,
so do I. It takes quite a lot of effort. And I know that because I'm normally in the V8 supercar on a Tuesday night in the Dev Series, and to get anything out of that thing I've got to practice probably for about 3 days. But no doubt these guys in these bigger teams would be swapping notes and setups and working these cars out to get the most out of them.
Yeah, they certainly do, Bernie. It helps to get involved, and the best way to get involved too, if you're new, have a look around. You know, there are teams out there that are willing to help you move on, and you know, it's a great way to get in with iRacing. Get out there, have a bit of fun first, and then start looking around. There's definitely teams out there. I mean, I'm part of a team that's was quite small to start with, and it's going into a reasonably sized team now. So. And they put a lot of work in and dedication, and the sponsors are coming aboard too now, Bernie, which is really good for this sport of ours, and it's just amazing. You know, I can't wait to see where 2016 takes us and into the future.
Oh yeah, it's getting very well. It's getting stronger and stronger here in Australia for iRacing events, and you know, evidence of that is on our screen at the moment. And we'd like to thank Carnet Auctions for sponsoring the Australian GT3 Championship. It's great to have those guys on board. And if you're looking to buy a car, definitely check out Carnet Auctions. I think it's carnetauctions.com.au or something like that. But just Google Carnet Auctions and check them out.
Yeah, Benny, they'll do you know, they'll do right by you. They'll search around for you and try and get you the best car. So you know, check them out, and you know, it's great to have those guys on board, and you know, it's good to see that we're getting these sponsors, and hopefully we can get some more aboard and make this sport even better. I mean, we get good pro drivers, real life drivers in here doing it, so it can't be all that bad.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And looking at our top 10 at the moment, we've got 8 minutes to go, folks. Scott Tamlin still leading the way. Aaron Osborne sitting there in second. Timothy Schweck third. Adam Funslow fourth. Hanlon's still in fifth. Kugeley's up to sixth now. Adam Newton seventh. Colin Schweck eighth. Ninth, Baden Reed. And Gary Hamilton still sitting in 10th. So it hasn't changed that much in the last, 3 minutes. Simon Feigl at the moment is in 11th, as we see Richard Brookfield having to go to the outfield to miss one of the roughs.
Yeah, unfortunately that was Simon there. He just got a little bit loose. I think it was getting into Spoon there, Bernie. So unfortunately a little bit loose, and yeah, we had a near collision there. Just a slight glance.
Yeah, and we've got on the screen at the moment our last week's winner, Gary Hamilton, in the 3Cs BMW. He had quite an interesting race, didn't he? And as he came through the field, and he was having a really strong battle with, who was it? Zach, I think it was. I'll just get his name up here. Zachary Hanlon, until Zachary had that crash, I guess you could say. So starting from 10th though, Gary's going to have his work cut out for him in this 80-minute race, and it's going to be interesting to see how he goes getting through this field, and if he can.
Yeah, that's right, Benny. This BMW seems to be solid all the way through. It's quite good on its tyres. It's not as quick as the McLaren. But it's got nice steady speed through the high speed corners. It's nice and settled. It doesn't use the tyres much, so it could run on a set of tyres throughout the 80 minutes. Even in this hot weather, it possibly could not stop for fuel, and that's a key in this race here that the series has got on, is if you don't need to put on tyres, and we know that they do tyres one at a time, that's a lot of time saved in the pit stall by not putting your tyres on. So that's where these BMWs will probably come to at the front.
Oh, definitely, and we saw that trend in the first round, didn't we, where the leader came in early, he took tyres, he took pits, and as the race went on and the guys came in, their pit stops went down, and a lot of them didn't throw tyres on, and he was a bit behind the 8 ball, and that sort of set the tone for this series. As we see last week, no one threw tyres on, and those pit strategies seemed to come down as the race went on.
Yeah, they got less and less in the pit stall, so you still got to put a minimum bit of fuel in, but if you can work it out and have those numbers tight, the less time you got to stay in that pit stall, the better off you are, and you can gain a few positions, which we did see happen last week. So it's going to be quite interesting this week, and we know the track temperature's up and these guys are going to struggle.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, and it'll be interesting to see what the McLaren drivers do tonight, whether they even opt to throw a couple of tyres on the cars, because those cars, it must be said, definitely fell off a cliff with tyre wear last week. And while we were speaking about Gary, he's got that BMW up to 7th. Zachary Hanlon sitting right behind him, trying to get a toe off him at the moment. A little bit cheeky, but allowed. He's sitting in 5th in qualifying at this stage.
Yeah, it's amazing that the Maccas actually don't use more fuel than the BMWs. The amount of excess burn that's coming out of those exhaust, Bernie, is phenomenal, isn't it?
Certainly is, and we were riding with Zachary then, and as they came onto that back straight, Gary pulled over and led him on by, so a bit of gamesmanship going on there. He wasn't willing to give him a tow up the back straight.
No, fair enough. If you think that you're giving someone a free ride, why do you don't have to give them a free ride. They'll get out of the road, or some people won't care and they're on a cracker themselves and keep pushing. But if you're on a cracker, then the guy behind you is probably on a cracker as well, and he might pip you at the line and get a few more positions than you.
Yeah, so the top 5 at the moment, folks. Scott Tamlin still on provisional pole with 4 minutes to go. Aaron Osborne 2nd, Timothy Schweck 3rd, Adam Funslow, we just saw Adam in the background, he's up into 4th position. Zach Hanlon is our top 5 at this stage. And look who's coming just behind Zach Hanlon. Mr. Gary Hamilton. Looks like he's going to try and repay the favour and try to get a toe off Mr. Hanlon tonight.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I'll tell you what, the Beamer needs it, because we know it's a little bit more underpowered than that Macca, so you'll probably want to use that draft more than Zach at the moment. Yeah,
that's right, and for all the viewers out there new to the series who's just joined us, we'll go back over the way this race will play out. So, single driver event tonight, 80-minute timed event around Suzuka. They'll have an incident cap of 25 incident points. After that, they're disqualified. They will have 1 fast repair. And for those new to sim racing or iRacing, what that means is they can hit a button and take their car to the pits and they'll be given a brand new car, but that will only happen once. As far as pit strategies go, the general trend is the guys treat this as a sprint round and they won't take tyres, but we'll see how the McLaren goes, and we'll see how their fuel strategies pay out tonight, or play out I should say.
Yeah, that's right, Bernie. Unfortunately, the guys are not taking tyres, but interesting to see if anyone actually only takes two. You got the options of taking as many tyres or as little tyres as you want. So you can take no tyres, you can take one tyres, you can take three tyres, one tyres. You can get one tyres, Bernie. Not one tyre, but one tyres. But anyway, three tyres. So it's up to you how many tyres you take on a pit stop.
Yeah, I don't know what the effect would be if you threw one tyre on your car, because I think it would throw it quite a bit out of balance. But it's an option, but I'm not sure how many guys would actually try that.
Yeah, Bernie, I don't think it's an option that anyone would take. The only guys that I've ever seen take one tyre is in a real life world where they've actually blown a tyre and they've only just done the one. But on sim racing, you're probably better off doing a pair. Now, which pair would you like to do? Generally, I think the consensus is that you take rears on these cars.
Yeah, I think so. And we're having a look at Adam Funslow. He's out there in the ILEC Clipsal McLaren, and he's sitting fourth at the moment. Now, Adam's been pretty clean in the GT3 class, and he's another guy that we'll have to keep an eye on tonight.
Yeah, certainly will, Bernie. He just struggled last week, like all the Maccas did, with a car that was loose and using the tyres. So it'll be interesting to see how well he goes tonight. Once again, nice long straights, so they can get a little bit of run down those straights. But we'll see how they go. It'll be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, it certainly will. And we're having a look at Aaron Osborne at the moment. He's on his final lap. 35 seconds of qualifying to go. Look at that gap. He's close to taking pole. He just can't get that 1,000th of a second up on Scott Tamlin at the moment, and that's been like that for most of this session tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Aaron needs a teammate here, and just to try and give him some drafting opportunity to try and get a few hundredths of a second off his lap time. But unfortunately, it looks like he's on his Pat Malone there, and I don't think he's going to bring this lap time down.
No, and I think he's also had he's bailed. He also had an off-track, which would have cancelled that out. So that's we're coming to the end of our qualifying. We can see all the guys now parking it up, and I like on the back of Adam's car, eat, sleep, race, repeat. That's great.
Yeah, certainly is, Bernie. It's a good one.
We can see Lewis Kugeley there. He's losing it coming onto the main straight. That's the end of his qualifying. Simon Feigl down in 11th. He is not going to improve on that. But, as we've seen, he is one of these guys that start deep and he works his way through as the race unfolds.
Yeah, it's a bit of work, Bernie, but like I said, these BMWs are fairly solid, so we'll see how they go, and it's going to be quite interesting. Everything's going to be played for after they do their pit stops.
Yeah, it certainly will, and while we're waiting for qualifying to shake out, let's have a look at our grid tonight, folks. So Scott Tamlin, congratulations, pole in the Martini Rough with a 2 minute .774, followed by Aaron Osborne, 2 minutes .784. Timothy Schweck, 2 minutes .800. Adam Funslow will start out of 4th in the McLaren, Hanlon out of 5th. 6th is Lewis Kugeley for Blackadder Motorsport, followed in 7th by Gary Hamilton, our last week's winner. Baden Reed will start out of 8th tonight, followed by Adam Newton. Colin Schweck will be starting out of 10th in the McLaren. Simon Feigl down there in 11th. Keep an eye on him tonight, folks. Richard Brookfield in 12th. 13th, Darren Connors. 14th is Kent Walker. And 15th will be Pat O'Hara in a BMW. 16th, Colin Mason Hayes. Simon Galley out of 17th. Brian Hender 18th in a McLaren. Now that name is Chris Tesorio. Sorry Chris, I can't pronounce that surname. Will start out in 19th. Then Tim Ballinger, he's starting at the rear of the grid after getting a penalty from last week's race.
Yeah, it will be the grill back there, Bernie. Just got to try and work his way up through the field as we can see them starting up, lining up here on the back straight.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go to live pictures now. Here we go. They're lining up now, and we'll be on to this race very shortly. And it's good, isn't it, with Suzuka being a newer track, they only have to do half a lap under the pace car conditions.
Yeah, certainly is, Bernie. It's something with the newer tracks that iRacing have brought out that they do half a track, which is really good. I mean, you could spend the whole, go around the whole track, but some of these tracks are massive. I mean, you imagine doing Bathurst a whole lap around it. It gets quite getting monotonous to see the start. But look, no, it's a good thing that we're starting back here, and the tyres are slightly warmed up, and we should be good racing.
Oh, it definitely will be. I'm really looking forward to tonight's race, as I look forward to all of the Australian GT3 Championship rounds. And the guys here, they race hard, but they race clean and fair, and generally they put on quite an entertaining show for our viewers.
Yeah, certainly do, Bernie. And these guys, they put a lot of effort in, and right down the back of the field as well. They may not be as quick as the guys at the front, but they're good, clean races, and have good battles back there a lot of the time as well. So we'll keep an eye on those throughout the race. We've got 80 minutes, so we can catch a few of those. And this race is going to be an awesome race. 40 odd degrees track temperature. These guys are going to be struggling by the end of it, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. And the entries are down a bit tonight, folks. We normally have about 25 drivers out there, but I guess with the iRacing Daytona 24-hour going, that's kept a few of our normal guys out of this race. No doubt they're racing in that. And from what I hear, they're down to the last probably 5 hours. So the pace car is leading the field around here tonight at Suzuka. Scott Tamlin will start on the inside. He will have control of this race, but keep an eye on Aaron Osborne as well as the other top 10 cars behind them, because they're all separated by half a second.
Yeah, and they don't have to wait for the green flag on here, Bernie. They can go as soon as that pace car's in the pit lane, so they should be taken off any second.
Yeah, Scott's looking, he's put the foot down and he's going. Aaron Osborne on the outside was caught napping a little bit, and it looks like Timothy Schweck is coming up on the inside. Lewis Kugeley's having a look with Adam Funslow almost 3 wide through there.
They're almost, and not clever. We can get around here too if they're gentle enough in the first round, as we can see Adam Funslow right around wide, and it looks like Osborne got there's a little bit touch there, and yes, Hanlon's gone wide there. They were touched and connected, just got that car loose then.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Adam's got any sort of steering damage, but he's dropping down the field. He's down to 11th at this point. He started 4th, and he's tucked up now behind Simon Feigl, as Richard Brookfield is now coming on the inside of him, and that's going to cost him another position here.
I just wonder if Adam just let him have that position just so that he didn't get a penalty after race. So just thinking ahead for the race and try and race his way back through this field, which is not a bad idea. And he's got 80 minutes, so he's got plenty of time. Hanlon diving deep underneath his teammate there into the hairpin and comes out in front. That was a good move. But we've got to be careful. These boys race hard, as we saw at Bathurst a few weeks ago, Benny.
Yeah, and we've already seen Colin Mason Hayes going off pretty hard there. It looks like he was involved in a bit of an incident, and he's had to park that car up and tow that car back to the pits. So he should get a fresh car though, but not a good start for the Carnet BMW driver tonight.
No, not a good start. Saw there at the Spoon, Gary got a little bit loose and backfield up a bit, and we got a full-on race here, as we can see. Hanlon trying to go around Gary around the outside of R30 there, so that's a tough move, Bernie, and I think Shrek was involved in that as well.
Yeah, and Simon Feibel's now also made a move on Hamlin. Hamilton's been mugged a bit down there. He's dropped all the way down to 7th. 8th is Adam Newton, and Adam Funslow's down there in 11th. So those two guys, starting from 7th and 4th respectively, they've struggled a little bit out there.
Oh, as we got Newton here trying to drift, he's spun around. No one's got him yet. So, oh man, that was lucky then, Bernie. That was drifting challenge 101.
Yeah, we'll jump back and have a look at that replay. I saw him starting to lose it in the background there. We could see the telltale smoke coming out. And let's have a look at this drifting 101. I tell you what, he had that all crossed up. I think he'd have that on full lock. Adam Funslow, though, did a really good job in avoiding him. And that could have been quite nasty for both McLaren drivers. But look at Richard Brookfield on the outside, taking it wide, also avoiding him. Great driving there by everyone concerned.
Yeah, it was a recipe for disaster, getting into turn 1, having a Macca sideways and trying to hang on to it. I think if it was a BMW, Bernie might have had a better chance of keeping it around there. He may have lost a position, but unfortunately that Macca just snapped back on him and just went backwards quickly. As back here with Uncle Tim. No, I'm not, but Uncle Tim's moved up into 15th, I think there, Bernie. So he's made a good start from the rear of the field.
Yeah, and he's pretty keen to come up through the field too, to prove a point or two. And we know he puts everything into his racing, and you can see in the background there also we have Lewis Kugeley in trouble in the BMW. He's dropped down to 17th, so quite a few guys are suffering out there, and we've only been running this race for 2 laps.
Yeah, it looks like Lewis just got a little bit loose getting in there, so just car probably not quite sorted for him, or he's just pushing that car a little bit too hard. But being hot weather, like I said, Bernie, it's not going to be really pleasant for these cars to drive around. You're going to be on edge all race long.
Yeah, you certainly are. And at the moment, looking at the lead, folks, Scott Tamlin leading the way. He's got 1.5 seconds at the line. It's now 1.6 seconds is the gap back to second, and second is Timothy Schweck. Aaron Osborne, well, he's dropped down to 3rd, and then Baden Reed up to 4th already. So I think Baden, he started down in about 10th position or something at the start of this race. 5th is Zachary Hanlon, but they've dropped him off as well.
Yeah, Baden's kind of closed in on Aaron Osborne here, so Baden's doing a great job in the rough. So the rough is definitely holding their own here tonight, and it's good to see that it's pegged back a bit at the moment. The McLarens aren't walking away with it, but hats off to Baden bringing this car up. He started in 8th position, so he's pushing hard, and geez, I think all of them are just seeing the racing that's going on at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, and I think Suzuka's a lot better suited to the rough than what Sonoma was. The roughs, they were fairly strong at Sonoma, but they, being a rear-engine car, they did appear to be a bit unstable through the undulations, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think you'd be right there, Bernie. As I saw Gary Hamilton, he tried to do a bit of drifting through Spoon a moment ago, so his car's not quite right for Gary at the moment. I don't know if he's had a lot of time in the car. We heard last week he didn't have a lot of time in the car, and same with Lewis. Didn't spend a lot of time in. They had to find a setup that they thought could work, and I just wonder if that's what happened to Lewis as well, Bernie, early on. Just don't have the setups in these cars at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think they're that happy with their setup at the moment, but keep an eye on Simon Feigl though. He's, as I predicted, he is coming up through the field already. He's up to 7th, and he looks quite comfortable in that way of life BMW.
Yeah, he certainly does, driving for ERA there, Bernie, I suppose, and driving that car quite well. And yeah, really hounding Colin Schweck at the moment, I think it is, and it's really close. It wouldn't surprise me if you can just see how well that BMW is getting through the S's. It's right on the back of that Macca, and just handles everything so much easier through the corners and the rough stuff by the look of it.
Yeah, and I know Simon, speaking to Simon through the week, he's fairly new to iRacing and quite a young bloke, I think, but he's definitely put his mark in this series as we see him closing up through the hairpin, and he's pretty keen to get this car moving forward, I think.
Yeah, he certainly is, Bernie. He's driving quite well. New name for me. I haven't seen him any time before Christmas, so this is the first time for me seeing him, but he's already made an impression on me in this series, so a driver to watch out for definitely for throughout the year, and someone that's going to go a long way, and he's definitely in a good team to get that, go further in his iRacing career.
Oh, that's for sure. And at the moment though, Scott Tamlin, he's still got that 1.5 second gap. No doubt he's managing it, as we see Zachary Hanlon going off there, getting the car gathered up again as they came up to the chicane. Timothy Schweck second, Aaron Osborne third, Baden Reed fourth, Zachary Hanlon, who we're looking at now, in 5th, and then actually that was Colin Schweck that went off, sorry. Hanlon's just tucked in behind Colin now, and then we've got Adam Funslow. He's trying to get past Gary Hamilton here in 8th and 9th position.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of work there, Bernie. How good Gary is, and Adam's no slouch either. So it's going to take a bit of work. But they have 80 minutes. We'll see how well they play nice. I mean, they're not going to barge into each other, but they definitely won't make it easy for one another. That's for sure.
Yeah, as we're jumping on the nose cam of Simon Feigl here for 7th. I'll tell you what, that BMW is so strong under brakes. Look how quickly he can close up on those McLarens, but then they just have a better exit speed by the looks of it.
Yeah, so it looks like the strong points in that Beamer is just getting into the corners, so braking into, so it's really getting into there and holds the speed in the high speed corners as well, but getting out of those corners in that Macca, just pulling away. Look at that, there's 3 car lengths that's pulled away already, so just goes to show as they come out of the corners, that Macca's just boots up and goes.
Oh, it certainly does, and you can see the differences, how much the Macca, as Simon gets that position, Zachary, he ran wide there, and he's not going to let him have it, but too wide down the back straight here. Simon Feigl on the inside, and Zachary Hanlon on the outside. I think this will be Simon. Oh no, he's had to tuck in. Just didn't have the legs to pull that off.
Yeah, there's the power difference there, Bernie. Just a few kilometres an hour difference in the McLaren to the BMW. And we'll see Adam. Was he had to go there? Did he get through that? I just didn't quite see it.
Yeah, he had to go, but no, he didn't. Gary held his line and held him out, and that's pretty good driving there, because making a lunge into the chicane there normally ends in tears, but they both didn't make contact and they lived to fight for another day.
And that's the quality of racing here, isn't it, Bernie? These guys are definitely good racers, and they're going to throw it in there knowing that they've got an opportunity, but they're not going to touch, and if they do, it's generally on occasions it's not intentional. They're not going in there to take you out. They're going in there for a pass and try and do it as cleanly as possible.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about this series is, as I was saying earlier, these guys do race hard and they do make contact, but they try to not do that as much as possible, and it does make for some entertaining racing.
Yeah, you're right there, Bernie. And, these guys are just full on, and look how hard they're fighting. 80 minutes of racing, and they're fighting all the way tooth and nail. Oh, Gary's off, Bernie.
Yeah, and he's got heavy damage there. Let's jump back and have a look at that replay. Good pickup there, Adrian.
Just saw him just coming out of that corner, probably just hit the ripple strips there, just too wide, Bernie, and it just throws the cars, unsettles them, especially these rear-wheel drives, and it just throws them to the right, and there's nothing you can do. You're a passenger from that point on.
Yeah, and you called it right. He did drop that rear wheel off just slightly into the turf, and from there on he was a passenger heavily into the fence, and that's going to be very costly for him. He's going to have to take that car in and use his fast repair, I think.
Yeah, he's going to lose a lot of top end speed if he's going to drive it all the way through, because I don't see him being able to stop for fuel unless he runs map 2, Bernie, and he might get to the end on that, but that's going to lose him speed throughout this race. So he's got to be really wary on what he does at the moment. It's too early to pit to make it all the way.
Yeah, well, that's right. He's going to have to reverse pit strategy, but he's going to be 7 minutes early, and he does bring that car in. I'm not surprised it's threatened to break loose again through, I think is that Spoon up the back chicane there, up the back fast part of the circuit.
That would be the R30, Burn.
Yeah, the R30. That's how much I know this track. Well, yes, we're very professional here at RRTV, folks, but hopefully you're enjoying the race. At the moment, Scott Tamlin leading the way. That gap, he's moved it up to 1.9 seconds now over Timothy Schweck in second. They've both dropped Aaron Osborne off. Aaron Osborne, he was 4.5 seconds down at the finish line, and he's 2.7 seconds down from second. And he has Baden Reed still on his tail at this stage in fourth. And then rounding out our top 5 is Colin Schweck, with his teammate Zachary Hanlon right behind him in sixth position.
Now I'm back here with Uncle Tim again, Bernie, in 14th, so he's up to 14th at the moment in some lap times. He's, I think, just checking his lap times at 2:04, so it's a little bit slow at the moment back there in the field, so which you'll find just trying to circulate and getting in this traffic. So it'll be interesting to see when he comes in. And geez, both Maccas go wide there through the Spoon corner, Bernie.
Yeah, and Tim's got Adam Newton very hungry to make up for that spin, and we know Adam's got a fast car as he throws it on the inside of Tim Ballinger in the Carnet Auctions Ford GT3, and he makes that move stick. So that brings Adam Newton up to 13th position.
It's a good for Tim actually to be, Bernie, just to stick behind this Macca. It might actually help him get past the 100 car there of Simon, is it Billy, so it might be actually beneficial for him, but geez, look at that Macca, it's pretty quick, isn't it?
Certainly is, and you could see how hard that Ford GT3 is to turn in at that chicane. Tim lost quite a bit of time there, and he's just getting back onto the slipstream now.
Oh no, Bernie, I've just picked up something here. It's I've had to go back. Unfortunately, it's a teammate issue there, and poor old Kent Walker, and I think it's Colin Hayes here has had it coming together before R30, so not good for the teammates there.
Yeah, it looks like we're just jumping back to that replay now. They did have some coming together coming up into R30 here, and it looks like it's all gone wrong for them as we see the replay. Oh yeah, tell you what, I don't want to be in that debrief tonight. That was a huge hit.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bernie, I did catch something there, and I had to go back and have a look, and yeah, unfortunately, two teammates get together, and I suppose when you've got that many teammates in this field, it's going to happen at some stage.
Certainly is, and it looks like Colin Mason Hayes has retired because that would have been his second fast repair, so unfortunately he's had to park that car. The other guys that are in trouble out there, Gary Hamilton, we saw he had damage, 9.8 second stop, 16th position. Kent Walker, he's just coming out using his fast repair. That cost him 40.1 seconds in the pit. Chris Tesoria, if you can pronounce that. Adrian, he has also had trouble, and he's had to have 68 seconds worth of repair on the KRAD Racing McLaren.
Oh, as Baden Reed loses it, Bernie, I think it's going into turn 1. I just don't know at this stage. I can't see.
Yeah, it looks like it was turn 1. We're just coming back to that replay now to pick that up as he comes down to turn 1. Yeah, he's lost it on entry midway, and he's done an Adam Newton there as he tries his chances at drifting. And just like Adam Newton, it looks like he's ended up on the infield at turn 2.
Yeah, two worst cars to try and drift through turn 1. I think the Macca and the Rough just don't seem to handle drifting that well. I think the best chance you got would be the BMW. I think having that engine up the front there, trying to balance the loos of the rear-wheel drive cars, whereas the other two, you've got a mid-engine and a rear engine, so I don't think it helps them.
Yeah, and Baden was pretty lucky there. He's only dropped 3 positions, but he just nudged the wall on the infield there, and any faster, it could have caused more damage than what he's got. At the moment, he's just got a bit of a scrub mark there on that front bumper.
Yeah, and it's sort of taken the only real battle that we had going there, Bernie. It looks like the boys are really spread out, so it just seems like the cars, they're all at their own different pace here, and yeah, it's really weird at the moment. There's nothing that's really close at the moment.
Yeah, they all got pretty excited there for the last few laps, but it's quietened down now. They've all got a gap of, at least a couple of car lengths between them up the front there. Simon Galley down here, he's also, he was under some pressure a couple of laps ago, and those guys have moved on as well, as we can see Adam Newton up there behind. Oh, what's happened to Darren Connors? Not Darren, one of the guys just ran off the track up there, Adrian. I'm not sure which driver that was.
Yeah, I'm just checking on a few. I didn't quite get that. Tim Bellinger, actually, Uncle Tim, he's dropped off from Simon. He was battling Simon earlier, so I wonder if Tim's had an off there as well, Bernie. He's pushed this car and he's ended up back down to 16th position, so oh no, hang on, he's had a pit stop, Bernie, so there's the reason why Tim's back there. He's actually had a stop, so looks like he's decided to do his pit stop early and try do the reverse strategy here tonight. Yeah,
and that would have been a planned stop because they're on the hour mark now, and we know these cars can run pretty much an hour around here on the fuel they'll be carrying, so he's probably going to see if he can make an undercut work. However, in this series, because they don't take tyres, we haven't actually seen the undercut be effective at all, have we?
No, not in the recent past, no, Bernie. So it's interesting on this series. 80 minutes is that 20 minutes past the hour. So we know that all these cars could run for an hour on their fuel load, and also for their tyres. But after that hour mark, can you push these tyres a little bit longer, which the boys are doing, which is good on them. But we've seen that before, though, Bernie, haven't we? We've seen actually guys push 2 stints out of a tyre. So it just depends on how much give they how much give you're going to get out of those tyres at the end of the hour 20 mark.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. It's how much you can look after your tyres, how much give you get out of them, and how much you abuse them. But at the moment, I guess the battle here between Lewis Kugeley, Zachary Hanlon, 8th and 9th, is heating up as we see both of them weaving in and out. Is Lewis trying to break a draft? No, he's not. Not sure why he's weaving then.
Yeah, Zachary was trying to drop Lewis there through the draft because, any help. I mean, the BMW's not that quick on a straight line, so I don't know why you'd worry, but look how close Lewis is through the S's here. And I think Zachary here is trying to catch on to Baden, which dropped down from his spin, and look how close Lewis is getting to Zachary at the moment. So that's how good this BMW is through these corners, and the Mac is just not strong enough. It's, you know, it's just one of those things at the moment, and they're the weaknesses and strengths of both cars at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. And it must be frustrating for Lewis because his car handles so much better through those corners. But then when they get onto that back straight, the McLaren just blows him away in top end speed. As we see again, Lewis throwing that car on the inside of the hairpin. But as I said, Zachary just uses the raw power of that McLaren to hold on to that position.
Yeah, that was close, Bernie. I'm sure they had a little touch there, but yeah, just the speed getting out of that corner, that Macca just gets going as, Zach is getting that thing loose. And look, the way that Zach's driving this car, if he doesn't take tyres in his pit stop, he's going to end up spinning this car by the end of the race, because that thing is smoking the tyres through the spoon corner then. Yeah,
well, we saw that last week, didn't we, when Zachary's tyres went off. He went hard into turn one at Sonoma last week. And for those guys that missed that race, you can catch our replay at youtube.com/RRTV live. But at the moment, Lewis has thrown everything he can at Zachary, and I guess all he can do is put the pressure on and try to wear those tyres down.
Yeah, that's the best option for Lewis, because Lewis is a great steerer and he can drive this BMW quite well. We've seen it before, and he's won with this car in races that you know, we knew the BMW was not as strong as the others competition. As here he goes on the outside through, he's got the inside line through this S's, then he's on the outside again, Bernie. So this is a tough race here, too wide. It's not really good going through the S's, but they're pulling it off.
They certainly are, and that was all set up when Zach ran that McLaren off wide again under that pressure, and then Lewis pounced. And as you can see, he's already started to make that gap up, but no doubt he's going to be watching in his rear-view mirror as they come onto this back straight and see if this McLaren can pull this gap back in.
Yeah, so, you know, Lewis done some brilliant driving there, got the hard work done, got up beside him through the S's, which is what you need to do, and that's where this BMW was so strong. And now he's got to try and hold him off after these long straights, because this Macca is quite quick and getting the draft down the back straightaway. That's where we're going to see it coming into R30 there.
That's right, and we're riding with Zach Hanlon now as he's coming down onto this back straight, and we'll stick with him as they come up through R30 just to see if he can close that gap. Again, he's gone wide. He's driving the wheels off this McLaren.
I don't think he's that close, but he has closed the gap down a bit, but just probably didn't get out of that out of the spoon corner that well. As he's wide again, Bernie. He's really trying to push this car forward, isn't he?
Oh, yes, and if anything, he might be overdriving this car a little bit, just trying to will it to go faster than what it's capable of doing at this stage. But he's going to have to keep an eye on his incident limit. It is quite generous at 25 incident points, but he has probably racked up at least 3 or 4 in the last lap with off tracks.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye on that. We've only been in on this race for 25 minutes, so it's got to keep an eye on that. You don't want to be bringing that up and not actually finish the race, and you've got to keep these points up to try and keep in the championship hunt.
Yeah, that's right. And Simon Feigl, let's touch base with Simon. He's up to 5th at the moment, and he's chasing down Colin Schweck. He's gained quite a bit of time on Colin this time through. Let's have a look. The gap at the moment is 1.2 seconds. It's a lot closer than that. And at the line, that gap was about 1.2 seconds. So he's probably gained 0.2 of a second this lap. Maybe this is when we start seeing the McLaren's tyres starting to lose their grip.
Well, it could well be, and you know, we did say the hot weather. It'd be quite interesting to see how this Macca handles the hot weather, and we know it's already harsh on the tyres as well. to begin with, but it is a quick car, and it is something when you get the setup right, you know, you can handle it to a point, but it still chews the tyres up. So and we can see Adam Funslow there in the background as well, so he's done a great job to get up into 6. So we'll see how Adam goes. He's in the same boat, he's in a Macca too, so it's going to be quite interesting later on, especially in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, it certainly will. And looking at the cars in trouble out there at the moment, folks, Gary Hamilton's had to use a fast repair. He's out of sequence. Tim Ballinger, well, he's done a scheduled stop, so he's fine. Simon Galley, looks like we've lost him. He's retired from tonight. Chris Tesorio's in big trouble in the pits. It looks like he's missing a wheel from this angle, and he's been in there now for 336 seconds. Kent Walker, looks like unfortunately Kent has retired from tonight as well, and we saw Colin Mason Hayes retire. So no doubt Kent and Colin retired after that contact that we saw at R30 earlier this evening.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to get a penalty for that one, Bernie. That's going to be quite an interesting debrief, that's for sure.
Yeah, it certainly will, and we know Kent's responsible for these lovely paint jobs on the CarNet cars, so no doubt after that big incident they're going to make him panel beat those cars out straight again for next round.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do, and you know, he is the bloke that puts the schemes on here, so you know, I think he's a bit peeved that he's wrecked his paint job and his teammates, so but he's in for some work, I reckon, this week.
Certainly will, and through the week I did get Kent to send it through quite a few of these lovely CarNet paint jobs on all the different cars they race in, and I'll have those up on our Facebook page at facebook.com Redback Racing TV, and they will be up through the week for all our viewers to have a look at, have a close-up look at how nice these cars are presented.
Yeah, that'd be great, Bernie, and I'm sure the viewers would love that. And if you're enjoying the telecast here tonight, just don't forget to press on that thumbs up button. And if you're not enjoying it, just send a little message on and let us know what you didn't like, and I'm sure we can see if we can improve it on it. But at the moment, Bernie, I jumped up here with Scott. He's got a 3-second gap, so he's definitely pushing this rough quite well and driving it. It looks nice and clean. And he's doing a great job. We haven't been speaking about him too much because he's been out here on his own, but doing a great job in this rough tonight. Yeah,
and we're just riding on board with him now, and you can see how smooth he is. He's just, you know, coaxing this car around the circuit. He's not pushing it, he's not having to struggle with it, and that bodes well for his tyre management as this 50 minutes of this race tick down.
The only benefit with that too, Bernie, is like he's not getting any incident levels up either. So, you know, he's just running this car, hitting his marks, keeping this nice and clean, and getting the lap times down. You know, his previous lap was 2:02 and a half, 5:58, and Timothy Schweck at the exact same time. So he's not gaining a lot of time on Tim, but he's definitely keeping the car nice and smooth and consistent laps, and that's what's you know, just taking his lead further and further ahead.
Exactly right, and now that he's got this big gap, you know, as Mark Scaife always would do, if they get a big gap like this, they just manage that gap, and he's not having to really worry about having to push that car at all, as we can see in the background. Tim Schweck now coming through R30. 3 seconds is that gap at this stage. And yeah, we'd also like to welcome all our viewers that have joined us on iRacingLive tonight. I'm quite excited. This is our very first broadcast on iRacingLive, so if you guys have any feedback, by all means send me a PM, because we want to make this telecast the best we can make it for all you guys out there.
Yeah, we certainly do, Bernie, and might get back now to Tim Schweck here. He's one of the TD Racing CarNet boys in the Macca. And he's doing a good job here. He's getting that car around, and once again, you know, the car's looking pretty pristine at the moment. And you can see how bouncy it is hitting the curbs. So really stiff sort of car, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And we're just having a look at him in the cockpit there in the office working, and he's also very smooth behind the wheel of this Macca. He's not, overdriving it or having to wrestle this car at all.
Yeah, it just seems like all the fun that was having on in the first few laps here is all settled down, and the guys are actually getting into a nice rhythm, and it looks like a practice session, doesn't it, Bernie, where the guys are out there just putting in laps, testing things out, seeing what they like, seeing what they're not. They're not spinning. I mean, you see a qualifying session or a practice session where guys are just pushing the car too far, but these guys are just sitting out there putting around, not doing anything fancy. They're just getting the car around the track, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're just now pretty much in the rhythm and going lap after lap. If we look at the times, last time Scott Tamlin did a 2:02.300. Timothy Schweck's not that far off with a 2:02.540, and then Aaron Osborne's next with a 2:02.710. Fourth, Colin Schweck with a 2:02.553, and then top five, Simon Feigl with a 2:02.850. So they're all pretty much circulating within half a second of each other at this stage.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I'm just going to quickly go off to iRacing page here, Bernie, if I can see their lap times for the race, and just having a look at Timothy Schweck's times here. He's all in the 2:02.2 mark here at the moment, Bernie. So even from lap one, he did a 59.7, and then a 2:01.9, which is probably his quickest without an incident. But the rest have been all in the 2:02, so he's got that rhythm going in the 2:02. So he's not changed too much. He's in that range of a 2-minute 2 lap time.
Yeah, that's right. And he's from what I can see here, they've done 16 laps here, and he's looking quite consistent, which is what he needs to do to keep on the back of Scott Tamlin at this stage, who is leading this race.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll go back to his brother here too, because his brother is actually catching Aaron at the moment. And I had a quick look at Aaron's, and Aaron's is a little bit all over the place. And unfortunately, I'm looking at about 3 TD racing boys at the moment. But like I said, there's quite a few of them in this race, and sponsored by CarNet. But yeah, Colin's actually doing the same thing, Bernie. He's in the 2-minute 2 marks. He's a little bit higher, but he's still in those, whereas Aaron is always higher, and he's got through a couple of 2-minute 3s there as well, which has hurt his lap time. So just finding this car a little bit harder to drive, I think.
Yeah, he's definitely struggling with it more than his brother Timothy Schweck, who's up there in second. Simon Feigl at the moment, he's just shadowing these two and trying to close this gap. But it'll be interesting to see how Simon's times are going as well. I'd bet they're pretty consistent lap after lap at this stage.
Yeah, they certainly are, Bernie. It just interests me now and again to see what these boys are doing, consistent lap times, and that's what they're doing. He's a little bit higher. He's around the 2-minute half up to nearly 2-minute 3. So he's definitely a little bit slower. You can see the speed in the BMW. He's a little bit slower than the Maccas, but he's doing a great job. And it might be a little bit slower, but it also looks after the tyres over a longer distance. So we'll see these lap times. He'll probably be reaching in the 2-minute 3s, low 2-minute 3s later on, around in another 20 minutes time. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's going to be quite interesting comparing this later on in the race.
Certainly will. And looking back here, 7th and 8th at the moment, Lewis Kugeley, he's managed to close that gap up on Baden Reed in the 444 rough, and he's starting to put the pressure on the Elements Motorsports driver.
Yeah, just pushing this car quite well, and after that lose, he's settled back in, and he's right on the back of this rough at the moment.
It certainly is, and the rough does look a bit loose. Just having a look at the way the body language of that car, It's just sliding a little bit, but saying that, Baden Reed pulls out three car lengths on Lewis Kugley.
Yeah, once again, the strengths here of the rough, it's definitely kept its straight line speed or getting out of the corners, that's for sure, but mid-corner and before corner speed, it's definitely lost a lot on that, and we can see here that's where the struggles are for Lewis, and I think the best bet is to try and do what he did earlier and try and get up beside someone through the S's. That's where his strength is at the moment. Once he gets through there, he'll be able to brake later, and that's his advantage, you know.
Yeah, well, that's right, and the rough does look a little bit nervous there under cornering. Not a lot, just a slight wiggle here and there, which is enough to send a signal to Lewis that he is in a good position to take 7th position.
Yeah, and unfortunately we've got another battle back there too I'm looking at the moment, but it's going to be so hard to get away from these guys, as I want to see how Lewis attacks Baden here through the S's. If he can get up beside him here, he's going to definitely make it easy for him to take this position, that's for sure, as we'll watch here as Baden try and keeps this car straight.
Yeah, and just look at the way Lewis can change direction of this car and choose his entry and exits into this corner. That's what's making this Blackadder Motorsports entry so strong compared to the other guys. They're forced to one line where he seems to be able to change his line fairly easily.
Yeah, that's right, Bernie. We've seen there Baden hit the curve a bit and bounced up and probably unsettled in for the next corner as we'll watch Lewis here. Can he dive in here? No, he's not close enough yet. He's going to lose out as he closes in mid-corner, but he won't have the drive out. And this is where he'll lose a lot of time.
Yeah, he's really fast on the entry, isn't he? And he actually, I think, gave Baden a bit of a tap there to assist him with his exit speed. But Baden, when he puts a foot down in that rough, he just pulls away, doesn't he?
Yeah, certainly does. As you can see now, Lewis is closing in again, but he's not close enough to keep on with this draft to get him through the next corner. But if he can hang on, and it looks like they might be catching Adam here as well, Bernie.
Yeah, well, the gap at the moment, let's have a look. Adam Fun's, a bit of smoke up ahead as we're riding with Lewis Kugley here. The gap is about 2 seconds. Oh, sorry.
As we got to move here, Bernie. Oh, are they going to stick? No, Baden's got the line and just pulled that off. That was close racing, Bernie, and just goes to show the calibre of drivers in the end.
Yeah, I had to dive for the camera to angle it. That's why I stopped talking, folks. But yeah, that was a good move, and there was no contact. But getting back to what I was saying, the gap up to Adam Funslow from these guys is about a second, maybe 1.8 seconds.
Yeah, and if they're closing in on him while they're battling, that's just goes to show how quick guys are trying to catch Adam. But you know, Baden's not looking backwards; he's looking forward to try and keep his car in the right position. And obviously, he knows Lewis is there, but Lewis is trying his utmost to get around Baden. And I think Lewis thinks he's got a faster car, and we can just see how well he goes. And I think if he got broken away here, it'd probably be 2 tenths up, as Baden must have got a little bit loose there, Bernie.
Yeah, he did on exit. He did get a bit loose as we look at Lewis again looking on the inside. See how he closes in the mid-corner, but then that rough exit speed is just phenomenal and he just drives away.
Yeah, Bernie, he definitely gets that benefit, doesn't he? And I won't worry about that other battle that I was talking about before, because it looks like Darren is may have gone to the pits, I think, because that was the Adam Newton and Darren Connors were having a battle, so we won't need to worry about that. But yeah, it definitely looks like they're closing in here onto Adam Funslow. I mean, it's down to under a second, so they were battling, and you know, we've got a three-way car battle here if Lewis can gain up here, because it looks like he lost the draft because Baden got hold of that Macca.
Yeah, now that Baden's got that draft going, he's down to 7/10 of a second. That gap was 1.1 seconds at the start of the back straight. from him to Adam Funslow, so they've definitely got that draft, and you can just see how quickly they're pulling him in.
Yeah, certainly there, Bernie. And I think with Lewis here at the moment, because I can just see them, but I might change camera just so I can see them all the time. But yeah, no, Baden's going to try and work hard to try and get around Adam. But the only thing that we're going to have here is that they'll bring up Lewis, I'm sure, because these two will slow down a little bit trying to get around that Macca.
Yeah, Lewis will definitely jump back up on the back of these two, and he lost a bit of time there, but he's now starting to pull them back in through the tighter part of Suzuka, through all those chicanes here. But Adam Funslow, well, I'm not sure what he'd be thinking, because that rough closed in very quickly on the back of his car.
Yeah, once it got the sniff of that draft, it really closed in. So the straight line speed of that rough still hasn't changed, as I can see there. Baden looking, he's going to have a dive on the inside, but Adam's taken the middle line. The drag is out of this hairpin. Adam's gone a bit wide, so it's on to come down to into the spoon corner.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think for sure now Adam is suffering with tyre wear here, because his times have dropped off a bit, and Baden Reed is all over the back of him, which he needs to be, because Lewis Kugley is breathing down Baden's neck at this stage of the race with 37 minutes to go.
Yeah, as Baden's opening out the draft, he's got the run here. He's going to get this position, and Lewis is going to be the next one that Adam's got to be careful of, because Lewis is having a little bit of look. Will he go dive in here near the chicanes? I think he is, Bernie. We'll keep an eye on this.
Yeah, Lewis has gone in and he's taken him quite easily there. So Adam Funslow's definitely struggling with tyres. So Baden Reed 5th. Lewis Kugley follows him through 6th. Adam Funslow 2 corners, 2 positions down in 7th.
I think he was caught napping then, Bernie. Knew Baden went around, but didn't think Lewis would go through there. But Lewis just had it there. Baden get a little bit loose there, Bernie. A bit of smoke there. So Baden's still pushing, and then Lewis is right back on him. So this is quite interesting, seeing these two battle, and they're actually moving forward as well. So this late in the race, that's brilliant driving there.
Yeah, and Lewis really did need to get past Adam as quickly as he could, because he doesn't want Baden Reed getting away from him with 36 minutes of this race to go. He really just needs to tuck in now and keep that gap and that pressure on the rough, because it does look a little bit nervous.
Yeah, it certainly does. Seen a little bit of puffs of smoke there getting out of the corners there, Bernie, just underneath, just before the bridge there. So not sure if it was getting loose or it was just bottoming out, maybe, Bernie. A little bit of iRacing technical stuff there that they've worked out on.
Yeah, we were following behind on the roof cam with Lewis Kugley. Didn't look like he was getting it very loose. If anything, it could be that smoke could be coming from him bottoming out in mid-corner there.
Yeah, it was an unusual spot to smoke. As Baden's way right there getting out of the spoon, which wouldn't help for traction, but he's still pulling away there from Lewis, as Lewis has got to work hard to try and catch Baden and then try and put a pass on him.
Yeah, and it's interesting to look at while we see these guys go through, because pit stops are coming up very shortly, folks. It's interesting to see some of these guys have chosen not to take tyres, and some of them have. Darren Connors looks like he's taken tyres. Brett Ender also with the 55-second stop possibly took tyres. Zachary Hanlon looks like he may have taken tyres, as well as Aaron Osborne. So the McLaren drivers look like they're throwing tyres on these cars, and the BMW and rough drivers appear not to be at this stage.
Yeah, it's seems a strange stop there for Aaron, isn't it? So like he did a 41 seconds, which is putting him back behind Gary there, and looking at the split there between those two, that's a long way behind. He's lost like 20 odd seconds behind Gary at the moment, and that's a long time in motorsports, you know. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting when Scott stops to see how long he stays in the pits for, and then the second and third with the Sweck boys. you know, how are they going to attack it? They're also in the Macca. Will they take tyres?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Will they have to take tyres? As we can see now, Lewis Kugley starting to, you know, nibble on the back of that rough, but we see he's got good entry speed, just slower exit speed, which must be frustrating the hell out of him at this point in time. But top 5, folks, Scott Tamlin leading the way. Well, we haven't seen much of Scott. 5.5 seconds is the gap back from him to second place Timothy Schweck. Timothy Schweck, in return, he has over 10 seconds gap over his brother Colin Schweck in third. Colin's 15.5 seconds down. Simon Feigel's driven that car up to fourth, 17 seconds down, but now Baden Reed and Lewis Kugley are starting to pull him in. So with 32 minutes to go, pit stops are about to start. The question is, will they grab him before the pits, or will they try and jump him in the pits?
Well, that is a big question, Bernie, and like I said, you know, these two are battling, and it looks like Lewis has sort of said, okay, if I basically stick with him, we seem to be going quick here, we might be able to pick our way through and get into a good position before we stop for our fuel. So they're definitely quicker than the guys in front of them at the moment. Well, I can see Lewis, his last time was a 2:02.1, so he's actually lapping faster than the leader at the moment, which is a phenomenal pace that these boys are doing. So, no, it's great racing, and these boys are pushing these cars towards the front.
They certainly are, and you know, while they're moving forward like they are, I think you're spot on with what you said, Adrian. Why would Lewis want to fight for that position if he's allowing Baden to tow him up through the field? Or, well, he's not really towing him up, they're both going flat out, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, certainly do, Bernie, and you know, you're just looking at the laps that the boys are doing. They're 2:02s at the moment, they're nearly 2:02 flats, which is quite quick. They've been racing now for, 50 minutes, so the tyres are starting to get old, the fuel load's getting low, so they're starting to get a little bit iffy in the rear end, and it's just phenomenal how quick these boys are going. You know, like their time shouldn't be coming down, they should be panning out, and realistically should be going a bit slower because the tyres are getting worn.
Yeah, realistically they should be, but last lap past 2:02.041 to Baden Reed. Fastest lap time at the moment is Lewis Kugley with a 2:01.724. So we know these two have very good setups, and they're definitely showing their pace. As Baden's looking on the inside of Simon Feigl there. Oh, and Lewis goes through.
Well, there you go, Bernie. We were thinking Lewis might have been sitting there, but he was playing possum and around, but I don't think he can hold Baden Reed off down the straight. We'll see as they go into turn 1, because he doesn't have the... Well, he actually does. It's quite funny here at Suzuka, and look at the speed of that rough. And sitting out wide and then cutting in is probably the preferred line for these cars, and there goes the speed of the rough. As he's a little bit wide, probably carried too much speed there, Bernie.
Yeah, well, now we're into the part of the track where the BMW has the advantage, as we can see. Lewis is just so much... His car just seems so much steadier through these... this part of the track, and yeah, well, he answered my question. I thought he might have been tucking in there. Maybe he was listening to us and he's decided it's time for him to go.
Well, that's it, Benny. You never know. You're thinking, oh, he might be just settled in here now and moved forward with Baden, but I think he saw an opportunity and he took it, which, you know, Baden got a little bit balked there from Simon just a little bit before R30 there, and it didn't bode well with Baden there, and Simon Lewis, sorry, just saw an opportunity and gained that much speed and took the corner, and we know how good these BMWs are in the corners at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly are, but now we're coming up to Advantage Rough, this part of the track. Up this back straight, it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on Baden to see if he can blow past Lewis Kugley coming up into R30.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd be this close, to be honest, Bernie. He did sort of go wide getting into the spoon, and the first part of the spoon he was wide, but this is going through the R30, the BMW should have it on the roughs, but as they broke away there, as Lewis is going, oh no, there's a touch, Lewis is spinning, and oh man, both of those cars, all three of them actually got away with that, but Lewis has fared worse than the others.
Yeah, and he will check his car to see if he's got any steering damage. Let's jump back and have a look at this super slow-mo here of this contact. As we can see, yeah, they've just touched wheels, haven't they, coming into the chicane, and that's allowed Baden Reed a free pass by both of them. But yeah, Lewis come off third best here, I think.
Yeah, certainly did, Bernie, and it's just getting into the chicanes there. Simon just went a bit to his left there, a bit too much there, and probably didn't expect Lewis to be there, but just pushed Lewis a bit wide, and now he's got a bit of work to do. With 27 minutes to go, I'm not sure if Lewis would want to come in. If the car's okay, got plenty of speed, he'll stay out there, but you never know, he might dive in and get this car serviced and back out on the track. He might be able to put some quick lap times down.
Yeah, and I called that wrong in slow-mo. It looked like Baden Reed had his hands full as well, and Simon Feigl managed to hold both of them off, so he's still up there in fourth. He's now got Baden Reed pressuring him for that position, and Lewis is sitting in the background there, probably just assessing if his car's got any damage. As we see Baden Reed on the inside of Simon Feigl, this contact, but Baden Reed pulls that position off for fourth position.
Yeah, that's what I think you would call a slide job there, Bernie. Just getting in there hot, seeing the brakes on that rough, blowing orange hot there, just hard on the brakes, trying to dive in underneath Simon. Just slid past him, just took the nose of that BMW, got through and got that pass done, as Lewis is having another look on that move and doesn't get hit this time, and I think he's pulled that off, Bernie.
He has that time, take two, and it was a cleaner move, but Simon's diving into the pits now, taking time to take fuel to release these guys, but I tell you what, he put up a pretty good battle there for the last couple of laps.
Yeah, certainly did, Bernie. You know, we're getting down to the last of this race, and losing positions now is probably not ideal. You might keep going backwards, so it'll be interesting to see how long Simon stops in this one to see if he takes tyres, but I don't think he will. It's too late in the game to take tyres, I think.
Well, yeah, and he's not losing time out there on the track, so he's best not to take tyres, which he doesn't, and he does a 13-second stop, so a pretty slick stop there for Simon, and it'll be interesting now to see how Baden and Lewis goes. But at the moment up front, folks, it's all Scott Tamlin. That lead 6.149 seconds and growing. He's just running away with this race, isn't he?
Yeah, certainly has, and I predicted, Bernie, they're starting to drop in the 2-minute threes now, so the tyres are slowly going away on these cars, but not a great deal. You know, they're slowly chopping away, and that's what I mean. You know, if your tyre wear is slowly coming down and you're not losing a lot of time, and the other guys don't take tyres, well then, you know, why bother taking tyres?
Yeah, well, exactly right, and if you're taking tyres this stage of the race, it's ways too late anyway, and really you're going to throw away a 30-second penalty, and you're not going to make that up on the track. You might make 1 second to lap up, but the way we're going with 24 minutes to go, the lapping in the 2 minutes, we've probably only got 11 laps of this race to go until we see the checkered flag.
Yeah, that's right, Bernie. So the gain to get new tyres is certainly not in it. You know, yes, you're going to get a second a lap quicker, but you're not going to gain 30 seconds in 11 laps. So it's one of those things that you've got to trade off. So so you're better off just sticking with it and not taking tyres and deal with what you've got. And, you know, it's good to test. It's good for endurance racing here with iRacing. You know, you can set your race up so that if you can set the car up to be longevity on the tyres and save yourself time, as we've got Adam Newton coming in the pits now too, Benny. But you know, these are all the things that these big teams will work on.
Yeah, that's right. If the race was longer, let's say 2 hours, then they would probably have to throw tyres at these cars, but they're just in that 80-minute mark where, you know, an hour and 20 minutes where they can get away with it, which is what most of them are trying to do. As we see Adam Newton now coming to a stop, we'll just keep an eye on what his pit time is, and he's not throwing tyres on it at all, which we would expect him not to. He came in 7th, he's leaving 11.7 seconds, and he'll come out in 10th position at this stage.
So this little battle here at the moment, Bernie, we've got Simon Feigl and Gary Hamilton at the moment. Now we know Gary come in and pitted way early because of an incident he had early on. So we're not sure if Gary's going to have enough there to battle Simon at the end of the race, because you know, it was really tight for his fuel stop. So it'll be quite interesting how Gary goes through the rest of this race.
Yeah, well, he came in 7 minutes early till we were expecting the pit window to open here, so there's a question mark over whether he can get this car to the end or whether he's going to have to come in for a splash and dash. But this battle now, 7th and 8th, both of these drivers have stopped. As Adrian said, Gary stopped quite early, a 9.8 second stop. Simon Feigl 13 seconds.
And we'll catch up with Scott again. Bernie, I think he's up here. He still hasn't pitted, so he's doing a great job. Jeez, that rough, it looks good. It doesn't look like he's hammered too many of the curbing, so, and it's just clean. I'll tell you what, it's just so beautiful how that car's going through these corners. It's almost like it's a train and it's on tracks. It
certainly is. It'd be like a time trial for him. He's got 7.1 second gap. It's growing 1 second per lap, and he's not up to having to lap anyone. He can just hit the apex, take his lines, keep it smooth, and keep it moving forward.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. And yeah, Timothy Schwecker back here, he's coming out of the corner just before the going back underneath the track, and it looked like it got a little bit loose, so he's probably struggling a little bit more with the tyres in this Macca, but you know, driving the car quite clean and just putting the laps down. So it's quite good to actually, Bernie, tonight to see the Sweck boys up here. It's been a while since they've been up near the pointy end. They've had a few struggles last year and joined TD Racing through the year last year and got with the team and been with them for quite a while now and enjoying their racing with the boys, and yeah, they're doing quite well tonight.
Yeah, they certainly are. That's second and third at the moment. It's quite interesting. Adam Funslow, he did throw tyres on this Eilec Clipsal McLaren, and he's just set the fastest lap time with a 2:01.469. But that's cost him. He's down in 12th position at the moment, and it's going to be interesting to see how he goes on fresh tyres. And this will really show the other teams, if they look at this replay, it'll answer the question, is it worth taking tyres in an 80-minute race or isn't it worth it? And we'll find out at the end of tonight.
Yeah, it certainly will, Bernie. It's a question, isn't it? And I think this is what 80 minutes of racing has given question marks about. You know, yes, you need to take fuel. We know that you can't run a race 80 minutes on a tank of fuel. It's just not possible with these cars. But tyres you can run 2, maybe even 3, but it's not usually time worthy, obviously. But we're sure the tyres could probably last 3 hours. I think they probably could, Bernie, if we tested it. But it definitely wouldn't be quick. But yeah, no, it'd be quite interesting to see if Adam can actually pull this car up closer to the pointy end of the field.
Certainly will, and Gary Hamilton's now starting to put the pressure on the back of Simon Feigl, and this is for 7th and 8th. Simon's going defensive here, and we'll just see how long it takes, or if Gary in fact can pass Simon here, because you know, Simon's a newcomer to this series, but he's definitely been proving himself in the last few races here.
Yeah, he certainly has, Bernie, and I'll keep one eye out on this Baden Reed Lewis Kugley battle, because they're actually starting to close in on Colin Schweck as well. So These boys are still pushing hard and trying to race their way up, and they've still got to do a pit stop. So I'll keep an eye on these two while you keep an eye on Simon.
Yeah, and if that heats up, let us know, and we'll definitely jump up to that battle. But at the moment, Gary Hamilton's sitting right behind Simon Feigl. He's trying to look at where he can make a move. It's looking like Gary's carrying a bit of damage on that car, which probably wouldn't be helping his top end speed.
No, it probably isn't, Bernie, and it's a problem. You've got two cars identical, and it's just the setup that's probably a little bit different, but the straight line speed, you know, they look pretty well identical. It looks like Gary's just closing in under brakes, which is understandable. You've got the draft, so yeah, it's a good battle, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. As we're looking out the back of Simon Feigl's car here, Gary does have the slipstream, and I just want to see if he's starting to use it, which he is now, and it's just starting to take effect, and then they're into R30.
Yeah, just not close enough yet. He's got to close right in. You know, he's got to get a good run out of these corners so he can, you know, get a good run on this car and see how he goes. But obviously we know that Gary pitted early, so he's going to, you know, drafting is actually probably going to help him here, Bernie, with his fuel load. So if he can do a few more laps like this, sitting behind Simon, he might be able to save him enough fuel where he can actually go and be able to attack him really aggressively and try and get this move done.
Yeah, that's right. And the other one is he's probably running a bit heavier than Simon as far as fuel goes, possibly, or he could be a lot lighter and having to do a splash and dash. We just don't know.
Well, the big thing here, Bernie, is we know that he only did 9.6, so, you know, that was a short stop by at least probably 2 seconds, I think, Bernie. So he's definitely shorter on fuel than everyone else, and he definitely doesn't have tyres. And we know Simon didn't take tyres as well, so the tyres are the same, depending on how used they are.
Yeah, that gap, as far as the pits go, was in fact 4.8 seconds. It looks like that's 3.2 seconds shorter was Gary Hamilton's stop compared to Simon Feigl's stop.
Baden Reed has just entered the pits, Benny, so he's out of that battle for now. So just going to watch his pit stop. We'll see if he takes tyres, but I don't think he will. He'll just pull up and get fuel. No, he'll be on his way, and then I'll have to keep an eye on the other two that he was battling. And
Timothy Schweck's also in the pits here, ahead of Baden. He's been in there for 11, 12. How's he going here? He's coming out now, 14.2 seconds where Baden Reed stopped. Let's see what his stop is. 12.6 seconds. So he's actually made up time, and Simon Feigl, Gary Hamilton are now just coming onto the front straight.
So that was a 2 seconds difference there in pit stops, Benny. So that's a bit of a time gain there for Baden. So this definitely helped him out here, and it'll be quite interesting to see how Lewis goes. And he's actually closed in here on Colin as well. He's only 1.3 seconds behind him, so he's definitely got a bit of pace here. Lewis does in the later part of this race, and that's where the tyre wear I think is coming down to. I don't know if the Maccas have got the tyres, and that's where it's killing them at the end of the race.
Yeah, well, they must be pretty light on fuel too, because they've run really deep into this race with 15 minutes to go. But we have seen this sort of trend previously, haven't we, where they run really deep in, and the pit stops generally get shorter because they're more certain they can get to the end of the race.
Yeah, that's it, Benny. And you know, all these teams actually have apps and helps where they've got Fuel Buddy and all that sort of stuff that will help them work out how much fuel they're actually burning and how much they need, so they can calculate how long they can run for and how much they need to put in. So with all those aids, it definitely helps the teams as they're going around again. So and drafting as well, that definitely affects your fuel economy. So makes a big difference.
Certainly does. Colin Schweck did dive in the last second to take to the pits. Lewis has gone around again. Scott Tamlin's gone around. let's have a look at how quickly Colin can pit. He did have a 10-second gap over his brother Timothy, but considering Baden's right on Timothy's tail, he's going to want to make this a quick stop. So he's been in there now 10 seconds, 11 seconds. Okay, 13.5 seconds to Colin Schweck. And where's Timothy now? Just trying to work out. It looks like Colin has lost that place to his brother. And Baden's now behind Colin. Unless I got him mixed up, of course.
Oh, I think it's all worked out anyway, Bernie. But yeah, it's Colin's just there behind his brother, which I think that was status quo before the pit stops. But they both are in front of Baden. But I believe Baden Reid is as close as ever to these Colin tonight. So definitely gained a bit there. I'll jump back here. Scott and Lewis have got to come in probably this lap, Bernie. These things must be running on the smell of an oily rag.
Oh, they definitely must be. And Gary Hamilton has also just made a move on Simon Feigl. We caught the end of that move, and I apologise for that, folks. But Gary Hamilton's up to 6th, Simon's down to 7th, and Gary's already pulled out. Let's have a look at this gap. Well, it's not giving me the gap, but he's already pulled out probably about 5-6 car lengths.
Scott's in, Bernie, Scott's in.
We'll see if Lewis has to come in, and just having a look, he's coming in as well. So both of those guys are coming in. Timothy Schweck's now coming up into R30, and we'll see. It's going to be close, I think, when they come out.
I think it's going to be close with Lewis. I think Lewis and Baden are going to be the ones that you want to see where they come out, because obviously they were battling earlier on. It'd be quite interesting to see where Lewis comes out as Scott is now leaving the pit lane.
Yeah, well, I think Timothy's going to get Lewis here, because Lewis has just stopped and he's still in the pits. Timothy's coming down the straight now. Lewis Kugel's just leaving the pits, 10.9 seconds. Not fast enough to jump Timothy there. Where's Colin? And Colin is not that far down the track with Baden Reid.
Now that's a jump there, Bernie. Lewis has actually jumped Baden Reid and Colin Schweck, just staying out that little bit longer. And that pit stop, I think it was around 11-second stop, so that's quite a short stop compared to the other two. So there's about 2 seconds there, plus his lap times earlier. So that's a great move there from Lewis. So that puts him into 3rd place and an opportunity to try and catch Timothy here as well. So it'd be quite interesting to watch these lap times from Lewis to see if he can close in on Timothy Schweck, because I don't think he's going to have the time to get to Scott.
Yeah, well, you're right. That was a really good move for Blackadder Motorsport there. They've played the pit strategy really well, and it was a good pickup by you, because I definitely didn't get that. But yeah, he's up to 3rd, very strong. Colin Schweck 4th, 5th Baden Reid. Gary Hamilton is 6th, and he's some 11 seconds down the track at the moment from Baden Reid.
Yeah, this is quite, just goes to the calibre of these drivers, doesn't it, Bernie? Lewis had a spin, Gary had a spin, Baden's had a spin, and they're back up in the top 10, you know, and they're fighting for positions, trying to get their way up to the pointy end of the field. So it just goes to show how strong these guys are. And even the Schwecks, to see them up there, and they've been having a good race all the way along, and it's good to see them up there. And it's just brilliant, the racing in this class.
Oh, it certainly is, and if there's any people watching and they want to get involved in this fantastic series, they can do one of two things. You can either go to the Australian New Zealand road racing thread, look for the Australian GT3 Championship and sign up there, or you can send a message to Tim Ballinger on iRacing and have a chat with him.
Yeah, that's it, Bernie. This is a great Australian GT3 series thrown on by TD Racing, obviously sponsored by Carnet auctions.au. They do a brilliant job there, and you know, you can see there's quite a few of the teammates out there at the moment. But yeah, no, brilliant to have aboard, and a sponsor as well, which is really good and good for our sport.
Oh, it certainly is, and it's great to see these sponsors coming on board, as we said earlier. Having a look at the moment, Adam Funslow, he did take tyres, and we wanted to see if it was worth it. He's currently up to 9th position now. He's just past Adam Newton. So he's lapping in the 2:02.071 was the last lap. The rest of the guys are in the 2:03, so he's definitely making time, but he's running out of laps.
Yeah, certainly is, Bernie. He's it's going to be a touch and go. He's definitely in the top 10. Can he make it further than that? I don't know. And with the calibre of drivers in front of him, you know, he's still got to try and get through Gary Hamilton, Baden Reed, if he can get up that far. So, you know, it's going to be a tough ask to get past those guys with only 8 minutes to go. And it looks like Aaron Osborne is not finishing either tonight, Bernie. It looks like he's out of the race.
Yeah, he's just retired by the looks of it. He's just come up on my screen here with a retirement. Simon Galley's also retired. Chris Tesorio, well, he tried to get that car fixed, but it was beyond repair, and he finally had to pull the pin. Kent Walker, as we saw earlier, colliding with Colin Hayes and ending their races and their teammates, so they can talk nicely to each other in the debrief tonight. Pat O'Hara has also, well, it looks like Pat hasn't really completed a lap, so he may not have taken to the grid tonight.
Yeah, he was having a lot of technical issues tonight, Bernie, and I think he pulled the pin before he started, so instead of causing issues for everyone else, he jumped out straight away. As I'm back here with Baden Reed now, trying to attack Colin Schweck at the moment. This is the closest battle on track at the moment, besides Darren Connors and Uncle Tim's up there too, Bernie. So Uncle Tim's up into 12th position, so that's not too bad going tonight.
Yeah, and we've also got the battle now between Adam Funslow and Zachary Hanlon. They're battling it out as well. So we've got 3 battles on the track at this stage, and we'll try and bring you the action here, folks, as we can see Adam Funslow closing in. Further back, Tim Ballinger and Darren Connors, teammates, are fighting it out. And it looks like he's got, Darren Connors looks like he's got a big Jaws on the front of the nose of that BMW.
Yeah, TD Racing, shark with bites. So yeah, that's the nice little paint scheme that Kent throws up there now and again. So definitely quite a good little paint job there, Bernie.
As we see now, Adam closing right on the back of Zachary Hanlon here. He nearly ran up the back of him there, and he had to jump on the brakes. But he's now fighting for this position, and it'll be interesting to see how. If he can get past, which it looks like he's got the car under him with fresh tyres, and how long it takes him to get past Zachary here.
Yeah, it's a battle. I think it's 2 against 4. I think here, Bernie. I think Adam's got the 4 tyres, whereas Zach only took 2. So it looks like he doesn't make the move, which is probably smart getting to R30 here at the moment. Maybe he should have just tried to stick behind him until the chicane here and dove into the chicane. But you know, it's tough with 2 cars, pretty well solid. They've both got a lot of strength, but we know Adam's got 4 tyres, so he's got better boots on.
Well, he definitely does. You can see the exit speed so much better by Adam. He's now forced to the outside as they come into turn 1. Hanlon's gone in deep and defend him off, and he has.
Yeah, brilliant racing here. 2 Maccas fighting it out and doing a great job. You can just see it looks like Zach's car's a little bit loose in it. It's a little bit twitchy. It's on edge, so he looks like he might be fighting this car all the way around here, and it just given those signals to Adam to have a look as he's gone wide. Can he get through here? I think it's Dunlop curve here. He's on the inside. Zach's on the outside. Not the place to be. And that's done. Good move there, Bernie. That was awesome driving.
certainly was. He put the pressure on Zach there, forced him wide, and then just drove straight up on the inside there. And that was a great setup and a great move. So Adam Funslow's up to 8th. However, he's got 9 seconds to catch up on Simon Feigl. Simon's lapping in the 2:04s now, and Adam's in the 2:02s, but they've got less than 4 minutes to go, probably 2 laps, and it's done and dusted. So I don't think he's going to catch him. He's going to come close, but he's going to be probably 4 seconds down the track when this checkered flag comes out.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, Bernie, as Ben Reid has got past Colin Sweck here too, Bernie, coming into R30, so the pace of that rough is still there, and Collins had to go wide through R30, and that's just helped as well. So they both went wide, and Baden Reid's through that as Colin got loose in the first part of that chicane as well. That didn't help, but yeah, Baden Reid's through on that position. He's up into 4th and trying to catch Lewis, but I don't think he's going to do it, Bernie.
No, I don't think he will. But having a look at our leader at the moment, folks, is Scott Tamlin. That gap he's steadily growing it since the start of this race. 10.1 seconds back to Timothy Schweck. So this race is definitely Scott's to lose at this point. Timothy Schweck sitting back in second position, followed by Lewis Kugeley in 3rd. Lewis is 14.5 seconds down from the race leader as he comes up to lap a back marker, and Lewis Kugeley is looking like he's having internet connection issues. So this could be another twist in this race. We've seen before, as these races have gone on, drivers have had to retire due to their internet crashing or failing on them. Baden Reid 4th, 5th Colin Schweck, 6th is Gary Hamilton, 7th Simon Feigl, and then back in 8th we saw Adam Funslow on a fresh set of tyres and trying to close that gap up.
Yeah, he certainly is having a little bit of issue there, Bernie. It was in the red there for a second, and now it's back in the yellow, so it might have been just someone might have been downloading or something when he was on, so which is a big no-no. It seems to be starting to settle down, or it might have been even he was round Brett, and maybe those two guys are probably not compatible over the internet at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess, with the internet playing up like this is the equivalent of, listening to every bolt rattling in this car. 3rd position, he doesn't want this internet to fail him with 1:18 to go, and it'd be interesting in his household if he's screaming at his family to stop downloading movies or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, that's for sure, Bernie, and it'd be quite interesting to see if we get another lap in. I don't think we will, because we're at I believe we're just going through the Dunlop curve now with Scott, so I believe this is the last lap, and that's a great result so far for Scott. I know he hasn't finished yet, but I don't want to put the mockers on him either, but what a great drive, and brilliant effort tonight from Scott. Just top of the class, I think, tonight.
Oh, definitely, and with a 10.4 second gap, he can afford just to lift and drive this down to get the white flag if he chooses to, with 28 seconds to go. I think he's going to get this white flag as he comes into R30 or the chicane, and it should be the last lap for him. 17 seconds to go.
Yeah, definitely last lap here for Scott. So a brilliant drive from Scott tonight. He's just it started from pole, let it go to woe. So brilliant effort from Scott tonight. A good one for the Element boys too. They've done a great job, and they're all driving different cars this season. We've got Scott in the rough, we've got Gary in the BMW this season, and we've got Adam in the Macca. So 3 different cars this season for these guys.
And as we see Scott Tamlin coming across to take the checkered flag tonight at Suzuka. So Scott Tamlin takes out round 3 of the Australian GT3 Championship here in Japan. And second now, we can see Lewis Kugeley with net connection issues. He's got that across the line for second. Great effort there for the Blackadder Motorsport. But Baden Reed, what a drive tonight. Finishes up into third position. He actually took Colin there in the last couple of corners to take that position there. Fifth goes home is Gary Hamlin, followed very closely by Simon Feigl in the Way for Life ERA entry. Adam Funslow, not too far down the track, but the best he could do with fresh tyres, 7th position. And then we see Zachary Hanlon home in 8th position, and then we can see Adam Newton coming home for 9th. Waiting now for Richard Brookfield. We haven't seen much of Richard in the Next Level Racing McLaren, but he brings that home in 10th. And then Uncle Tim, he's going to bring that car home in 11th with his teammate Darren Connors right behind him.
And that's all our finishes tonight, Bernie. I think we might have missed something. I think Scott topped out on our telemetry there, and you might have got it mixed up. So we might be a one position a bit up there, Bernie, I think, tonight, because even I was getting confused there. I'm sure we lost someone there at the stage, but I believe Timothy come home second and Lewis third. So brilliant racing, though. There's a little bit of technical issues there. We got it right at the end ourselves, Bernie.
Yeah, it's dropped off our race leader on the telemetry, and we saw Mr. Ballinger there lose it on the finish line, and that for GT3 is toast. But looking at our retirements tonight, it had Scott Tamlin down as retired in 13th, but we know he won. Brett Hender has retired also by the looks of it. Aaron Osborne, Simon Gelly, Chris Tesorio, Kent Walker, Colin Hayes and Pat O'Hara did not make the start tonight here in Suzuka.
Yeah, once again, I'm just lucky I'm still on this iRacing. I can see a few little stuff coming up. The boys are typing away, and yeah, those Maccas were chewing up some tyres. And looks like Adam Funslow there, he said he didn't get his tyre pressures set, so he had to throw in an extra set of tyres on there to get through. So it wasn't strategy there from Adam. It was more that he didn't have the right tyre pressures, and it killed his tyres.
Yeah, definitely. And before we get into our post-race interviews, folks, the week ahead for RRTV. If you like your Skip Barbers, definitely join us tomorrow night at 9:15 p.m. for the Monday Night Lights Skip Barber series, and that's 9:15 p.m. GMT plus 11 time in Australian time. We're getting a lot of Europeans joining that series and taking it to the Aussies, and it's a great little series to watch. And then, of course, next Saturday night, we will be back on iRacingLive for RRTV, and we will be bringing you the first 3 or 4 hours of the Australian Endurance Championship, and they will be doing the Daytona 24-hour. So no doubt a lot of them have run this weekend in the iRacing Daytona 24-hour to prepare them for the Australian Endurance Championship next Saturday night. And that will be kicking off at... what time were we starting that broadcast? About 7 p.m, I think. GMT 11. But have a look on iRacing Live schedule and you'll see it there, folks. So it looks like we've got Lewis Kugeley in the green room, so we'll bring him up and have a chat.
Sounds good.
Hi Lewis, welcome to RRTV's commentary booth. Congratulations on third, and I don't know about you, but I was a bit worried when I saw you blinking with the last 3 laps to go of this race. And it doesn't look like we've got Lewis. Have we got you there, Lewis?
You got me now?
Yeah, we've got you now. You must be having some internet connection issues over there, are you?
No, I've mapped the wrong button. I'm touching about 5 or 6 different buttons. I've been changing it up all weekend. But yeah, on the internet connection, yeah, I've had a shocker this week. We had GT this morning. We were 3 hours and 45 minutes in looking for a second, and we crashed out. We not crashed out, so we had a disconnect with 15 to go, and then we've got the 24 hours of Daytona, and I've had 3 disconnects all weekend, so I've had a rubbish weekend, so I've got to get that sorted.
Yeah, especially with the Australian Endurance Championship coming in. next week you're going to need a reliable connection issue. How did you guys go in the Daytona 24-hour before we have a chat about this race?
We got 4 cars entered, so we're in split 3. We got a DP and it's sitting in the top 5 at the moment, and then we've got 2 BMWs. The sister car, the car I'm not driving in, is in the top 5 at the moment, so they've had a pretty good run, and my car has had all sorts of issues, being taken out by DPs, internet connection issues, a few spins, but we're still circulating in 9th, so we're going to finish it, so yeah.
Fantastic. And getting back to this race tonight, it was a bit of an up and down race for you, I guess, but I tell you what, that BMW, it seemed to be on rails tonight.
Car was fantastic tonight. In the race trim, it was beautiful. My start was great, from 6th to 3rd, almost on the 2nd, and then, of course, I always, run out of talent and spin, so that sent me back at 20-odd seconds, and yeah, there I had to come to the field. Hopefully it was entertaining. Had a few little car contacts, some guys not knowing whether I'm going to go through or not, but apart from that, pace was good. I'm disappointed because race pace was there for the win, but a good recovery drive nevertheless. I mean, you just got to pick up championship points, and the battle with Baden, I mean, we've been doing that all season long. Like Sonoma tonight was the opposite, so I was chasing and he was in front, and I managed to play pit strategy well and get the jump on both him and Colin Schweck, and we were catching Timothy, and I think we had Scott for pace too, but you can't win races if you spin.
Yeah, and speaking of your pit strategy, Adrian picked up on that, but that was a great move there. You pulled in about 2 seconds over those guys and managed to jump Baden and Colin there in the pits, which was a fantastic move there.
Yeah, well, I've learnt my lessons from the first couple of rounds, not getting strategy 100%, and finally went my way. I knew that following Baden, I get a little bit of draft, so I could save a bit of fuel, and he was pushing pretty hard. And I calculated just right, had another lap just in case we didn't get the white flag, but it was pretty much spot on. And yeah, not taking tyres. The car was great throughout the whole run. Drop off was good. I'm sort of disappointed with my qualifying run because I should have been a little higher and it would have made my race a lot easier. But yeah, race pace was fantastic, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to hand you over to Adrian to see if he's got any more questions for you, Lewis. But from me, congratulations. That was a very strong race and a really good finish there in 3rd position, so well done.
Cheers, Benny.
Yeah, thanks, Benny. Lewis, watching your battle there with Baden, and you were coming up and you were overtaking the guys. The race pace that you guys were showing was just absolutely phenomenal. It was great to see that the BMW was hanging on to the rough, only just barely, but it was good. But the biggest moment we had was getting into the chicane after the R30 there, getting a little bit of contact with Simon, and just held you up there. You sort of come out 3rd best in that situation.
Yeah, I was pushing it. I got by Baden and I had to make the move on Simon, and I made a few optimistic passes throughout the race. I mean, I went outside, went on the outside on the chicane, and it was pretty tough to do, and I think he moved over a little bit. I tried to squeeze through there, a bit of contact, saved it, and yeah, came out 3rd best. But I think our race pace tonight was better than the rough, to be honest. I mean, our tyre wear was good, and I was sort of losing time in that middle stage behind Babe, and I was thinking about going into the pits, but if I on a full tank, the car's a little slower, so you got to run the tank dry if you're not going to take tyres, so you got to do that whole first stint and then take the splash at the end. That's the optimal strategy, so that's how we went, and the race was good. A few different strategies too was interesting. I mean, we saw Gary come in early on and make that work, being held up, so I was sort of anxious, and I think Aaron also came in for tyres, so it looked like a good finish. But yeah, we played the strategy well, pace was good, made a few great overtakes, and I hope it was entertaining.
Yeah, it certainly was. I think the overtaking move that we did actually catch you on was, I think it was Adam, you going through the S's there. I think it was Adam. It might have been Baden actually, I think, but there was that much action on. But getting up through the S's there, just got the inside line on one corner, and just we could see how strong that BMW was through the S's there. It just held its line, and Bernie pointed out, it didn't matter where you put it, it just wanted to go there when you told it to. So that was probably one of the highlights I saw with the overtaking moves through the S's.
Yeah, made a few great overtaking moves. That was probably the one outside. You got a slow exit on turn 1, and I went sort of the outside, and then you just got to hold your line there. And I knew that if I can get through the first part side by side, I'd have the optimal line for the the third part there. So that's what the plan was, just to get the car up there. But yeah, as you said, it was really good, really stable. We didn't do much setup work. It's sort of, we were focusing on the 24, so I just went on the forums, had a look around, and go a few setups. I only did about 30 minutes of practice, but I've done plenty of laps around Suzuka, so I know that place back to front from previous seasons of different championships. So yeah, happy with that. And I think I'm first in the championship at the moment, so consistency is paying off. So I've just got to keep that up for the remaining 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah, that's right. Consistency will win you championships. But another great race there, mate. Love watching you guys race. It's always a pleasure to be up here watching you guys and calling the race. So we let you go. I'd like to get you to have a big shout out there to your sponsors and your teammates.
Thanks to GP Racing and Amouge. That's a Canadian supplier, because our team's worldwide. We've got 2 sponsors on board now, so that's good to have another sponsor on the car. To the team, great job this weekend. The 24 hours, we're doing a really good job there. It's a practice session for next week's AEC. We're doing our utmost to start that season strong. Some of the other guys who ran JT in the early hours of this morning, myself, Brace, etc. Unlucky, we had a podium on there. It's a really strong series, and thanks to RRTV for the broadcast. Once again, it's great. We're really looking forward to having you cover AEC next week. We're going to pop up numerous times with our various drivers, so we'll keep you guys informed. Congrats to Scott and Timothy this week on the first and second. And obviously had a great race with Baden, and to TD Racing and the crew from Australian GT3 Championships. Awesome job. It's a great series, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks for this championship and next week's AEC. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic, and that was Lewis Kugley, third tonight for Blackadder Motorsport. We'll bring up our race winner Scott Tamlin next. And did you want to start this interview off, Adrian?
Yeah, I'll start this one off. Hey Scott, welcome to the RRTV commentary booth. Congratulations on the race win tonight.
Yeah, cheers, Adrian, Tony. Yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, it was good from the word go, wasn't it? Got pole and led the race from start, so it had to be a pretty good race for you tonight.
Yeah, it was, mate. After last week, and I wasn't expecting pole, to be honest. I was thinking maybe another 2 or 3 attempts, but for some reason in that last stint in the qualifying, the track, I don't know if it changed, but it was a bit weird. But yeah, got it together. Took off from the start and just tried to gap Tim all the time. I think it was Tim behind me, and just maintain that gap and keep it nice and smooth.
Yeah, no, it was good. I think the pole position was, I think it was like 1/1000th of a second. It was really close between you and Aaron. It was a phenomenal sort of pole, and it was like a second from in the top 10. So the top 10 drivers are within a second in qualifying, which is a phenomenal effort, I think, with everyone involved. It just shows you the calibre that you're racing against.
Yeah, it certainly does, Adrian. And look, with the cars these days, obviously the REF being outed, me and Baden, we've found a sweet spot with it again, which is good. We are running minimum wing on it just to keep the car going, and it is a bit of a handful, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we didn't keep a lot of time on you tonight. Obviously, you're out there in front and just showing everyone how to do it, but just car looked really stable. Like we seen it go through. It was like it was on rails all night long. Didn't miss a beat. Didn't seem like it got twitchy at all. So the setup definitely was working for you tonight.
Yeah, it certainly was, Adrian. And the car, I didn't know what to expect going into it, to be honest. It was the qualifying set we used, and the car really hooked up from the start. Probably from a lap 20 onwards, the car started to struggle on the front end a little bit. But I had a few moments, mate. You probably didn't see him, but I had one going into 180R, sort of drifted off to the right-hand side, caught the actual grass, and I thought I'd actually spin it, but caught it. But from there on, it was just plain sailing from there.
Yes, you're probably one of the lucky few to actually catch the rough in a slight spin there. We've had a couple there tonight. I think Baden had a moment there.
Okay, yep.
I think it was getting into turn 1. It got loose, and he ended up going on the inside there. So he struggled with with it getting loose there at some stage. So that was well done if you kept it, because we know how bad that rough can be sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like last week, Baden kept it together. I didn't keep it together. We had the same set, and he drove a really good race, and I lost it in turn 1 and then a few other bits and pieces. But yeah, just try to keep it nice and smooth into turn 1 all the time. Actually, I was probably a bit too soft, but again, I could see Tim behind me wasn't really catching me through there, and so yeah, as long as I kept it nice and straight, nice and smooth, I could get it home.
Yeah, no, that's great racing, and I don't have too many more questions for you, mate. Sorry, but I'll pass you over to Bernie, and he'll probably have a couple for you. But once again, congratulations. Done a great job. Get that car up the front from the start, and it was easy to win from there. So well done, and hope to see you in I think it's a fortnight time, and probably next week actually for the AEC.
Yeah, no worries, Adrian. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, well done, Scott. That was a fantastic drive by you tonight. Pretty much starting in pole and driving away with this race. Fantastic. I guess the only question I've got for you is, did this race feel more like a time trial for you once you got that gap sorted out?
Yeah, it was a bit. Obviously, I used a lot of what do you call it again? Actually lost the words for it. The relative all the time, and looking at my times each lap. I dropped a few tenths on a few laps, pinged it back again. Again, Tim was there. Tried to gap him again. He didn't come, and I thought, okay, I've got a few tenths up my sleeve here. So just again, kept it nice and smooth. I think he might have had a few moments. And again, lap after lap after lap, just trying to keep it nice and consistent. And again, the car was great. Towards the end, it probably wasn't. The tyres were going. Again, the front was letting go, but again, just had to sort of back out of it.
Yeah, I guess once you got that gap going, you're probably pretty much driving to a number by then and just trying to manage those tyres. Was that the situation?
Yeah, exactly. So I could see the time behind me. It was creeping out to 9 seconds, so I had enough time in my sleeve. There was no point taking any risks. Towards the start, I took a lot of risks just to push it hard and try and get that gap. And again, it was floating between 2, 3, then 4. But again, you make one mistake, you can drop a second, 2 seconds. So in the end, I was quite happy to be 9 seconds in front.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the way to go. If you can get that gap and then manage that gap, which is what you've done tonight, it's definitely a formula for success, as we've seen. So looking at the Australian Endurance Championship, are you going to be competing in that next Saturday night?
I believe it's not next Saturday, it's in a fortnight. The Endurance Championship's next week, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I said, didn't I?
Oh, did you, mate?
Yeah, I think
Sorry,
so.
Mate. So I sort of lost it. Went for a big bike ride before I actually got on before, so a bit knackered at the moment. But yeah, definitely in 2 weeks' time. Obviously, I missed the first round. Second round, been in the car. But I'll be back in a fortnight.
Yeah, and what about the Endurance Championship this weekend? Are you going to be running in that?
Oh, don't think so. No, someone has asked me, but endurance races aren't my thing. I like sprint races. But again, I'll put my hand up if I have to.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, anyway, Scott, fantastic drive tonight. Well done. Well-deserved win. Starting from pole, running away from the race tonight, I could say. And a very convincing win. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. Just the boys at Element Motorsport. Baden, Gary, Adam, AJ, Peter, Gary's beer, 3C's beer. That's probably about it.
Fantastic, Scott. Well, thanks for popping in for a chat, and we look forward to seeing you in a fortnight's time.
Yeah, cheers, Bernie. Adrian.
So we've got quite a few people in the green room waiting for an interview. I think we'll bring Gary Hamilton up next, and then we'll bring up all the TD Racing boys to have a chat.
Sounds good, Bernie.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for waiting, and well done. It looks like you've finished in, what, sixth position tonight?
Yeah, that's right, Bernie. Thanks for that. Look, yeah, I'm not sure about well done. I did not have an ideal start to that race. I made a big error.
Yeah, well, we saw earlier on you had that incident which sort of put you on the back foot, didn't it? It dropped you right down, and we weren't sure if you're going to have enough fuel to get to the end, but it was a good recovery drive from there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess after that happened, yeah, I'm happy with how the recovery went, for sure. Yeah, that caught me by surprise. The racing was a little bit exciting at the start. It was really good. I was sort of expecting to probably get a little bit jumped. I thought I had the tyres maybe a little bit higher and hopefully it was going to come on later like it did at Sonoma. Still pretty inexperienced with the new BMW. But yeah, there was a bit of hairy racing there and I backed out of that and sort of put myself in the pack, and then yeah, I think I didn't not get that set right tonight. That was pretty difficult to drive.
Yeah, it looked like earlier on the car looked, it just looked like it wasn't happy out there, and you've had to really wrestle it a bit just to get it to behave itself a bit. But yeah, once you got in that rhythm and the bad luck sort of disappeared, it looked like from then on you're having good battles there moving up through the field.
Yeah, so the first thing in my mind obviously was I thought that incident in coming into the pits was too early for the fuel. I'd worked out some comfortable numbers at the start and I was about 7 litres off. So I redid the numbers and then had a target to hit. So yeah, after I started doing a couple of laps I realised I could hit that number. So I just concentrated on that, made sure I hit that number every time, and then yeah, I had enough fuel to get to the end, which was good. If I didn't have the fuel, yeah, there's no way I would have been up where we finished. So that was good.
Yeah, we did call that you came in quite early and we just weren't sure if you had enough fuel, but I guess when you were tucked up in behind Lewis and Simon Feigl there for a number of laps, I guess that helps a lot getting that slipstream.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, anytime you're in a slipstream, for sure, you can lift even earlier and save some fuel, but by that point I was set. I'd done enough laps and saved enough, and so I was pretty comfortable with, I had plenty of fuel to be able to attack if I wanted to, and to be honest, I was trying as hard as I possibly could, and Simon was driving really good. Went defensive a couple of times, and yeah, kind of forced me to push a couple moves I was a bit uncomfortable with, but ended up with an exciting time going up the inside of 130, and we went side by side all the way into turn 1, so it was an excellent job by him. Really good racing, and we kept it on the track.
Yeah, it looked like hard racing but fair and clean racing, which is what we like to see out there. And yeah, no, congratulations, 6th position tonight. It's really hard on these short races if the race goes against you earlier on to recover, but you've definitely done that tonight.
Yeah, like I say, I mean, 6th, taking into account the big mistake at the start, I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, that's good. A few more points there, chucking in, and yeah, look forward to next weekend and hopefully get a better result. Big ups there for Scotty. Nice win, awesome pace, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, he pretty much led from the front, didn't he? And he got a huge gap and just managed it. But before I let you go, Gary, I'm going to hand you over to Adrian to see if he's got any more questions for you.
Yeah, thanks, Benny. Yeah, great drive, Gary. Once again, drove that car through the pack just to get back up in the 6 after your spin. But it must mean a lot more, considering the car wasn't really handling that well, to get yourself back through the field to get up to there.
Yeah, it's as you know, it's very, it's almost frustrating when your car's handling like that. It was very difficult. It was difficult to start. I just sort of put it down to tyres, that were going to come on later. They did through the middle part of the race a little bit. It was not too bad of a balance then, but as they started to wear, it got back worse and worse. I think I made a big mistake with the setup there, and I throughout the race, what I think I was feeling was the rear end was actually bottoming out. And I got a feeling that's what might have caused that spin off of that curb, because I've been over that a few times before, no problems, and yeah, that time it just fired me off.
Yeah, it's something probably with the BMW racing with a few of the guys and getting setups and that, and I've noticed there I've actually gone wide actually out of that corner myself, and I actually called it as we saw it, unfortunately, so you'll get that back on YouTube when you go back and watch it. But yeah, it seems to hit, if you go too far over that ripple, it bottoms out and it sort of picks a wheel and just spits you out, so it's not a pleasant feeling, I know that one for sure.
Yeah, it caught me by surprise, and I think I was a little bit unsighted there. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and have a look, but yeah, I was in a little bit of a back, and actually that was my own fault, because I don't know if you caught that, 2 laps the 2 preceding laps before that. For some insane reason, I decided to drop a rear wheel on the grass before the back straight, and yeah, was doing a bit of drifting, just sort of making it look cool, but wasn't very good for the pace.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't. And like you were saying there, Bernie, it was it was pretty hectic in those first 2, 3, maybe even 4 laps there. It was pretty well full on, but then it sort of quietened down, and the guys got into rhythm, and the racing was quite settled after that.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know. I was at the back there by myself, just chugging laps, but yeah, I was waiting for some more people to make mistakes, but unfortunately not enough from up front.
Yeah, no, I think from your incident, I think we were getting to the end of the silly season of the race there, and everyone was starting to settle down. So it was just sort of one of those situations that the field was spreading quite quickly, which was quite a shame for us, because I think we were starting to run out of talking about stuff. But it was still a good battle for you to come back through, and especially with a car that was ill handling, that's for sure.
Yeah, thanks, Adrian. I think, yeah, like I said, I'm happy with that. After the mistake, that's a good result.
Yeah, before we let you go, because I've run out of questions, you want to have the shout out there, mate?
Yeah, like just before, big ups there for Scotty. That's a really good win for him, and he's been fast, as you know, all the time, and just something will sort of happen all the time, make a little mistake or get taken out or something. So, yeah, that's how you do it. Nice and fast. Start off the front and lead all the way. And I'm sure he's happy with Baden as well. I think they worked on that set together. So, yeah, as you've seen, as the team, we've all sort of trying different cars to see what's what, and they're still showing us the way in the rough around here.
Yeah, well, anyway, Gary, thanks for popping in. So we're going to see you next Saturday night in the Australian Endurance Championship.
Actually, I haven't got any plans to do it. We haven't entered the team or anything, so I think there were some people looking for drivers. I'm not sure, but if there is anything and I can get in, if I can help out, for sure.
Fantastic. Well, if we don't see you in that series, we definitely look forward to seeing you back on the track in a fortnight in the Australian GT3 Championship. So, yeah, thanks for popping in, and well done on your 6th position finish tonight.
Thanks, fellas. I'll see you then.
Well, looks like we've got one person left for our interview, and that's Tim Ballinger from TD Racing. We might bring him up, and you can start the conversation if you like, Adrian.
Yeah, it looks like Colin's still there too, Bernie.
Okay, they're teammates. We'll bring them both up.
Good evening, TD Racing teammates. Welcome to the Commonwealth G booth. I believe, Tim, you got a little bit of official business to start with.
Oh, just on the admin side of things, the series, there's a couple of incidents out there tonight that'll be reviewed, and I'll let the viewers know, let Bernie know next week. We're off for a fortnight with the AC next week, so yeah, I'll give Bernie a full report of that and what happened and the penalties that may be involved.
Besides that, had a bit of a work there to do to get through the field. We see that you pitted early in the race to try and come back through.
Oh yeah, I managed to get a few spots there at the start, and then, like I said in the hot lap I did at the start, if you hit that bump there, the car takes off, and it did on me. So rather than try and fight my way back through, I thought I'd pit early and get some fresh air in. And then at the last 20 minutes, Darren's caught me on fresh tyres and had to drive the wheels off it to try and hold him off.
Yeah, we did see that. I wasn't sure if Darren got you or you got past him, but given you a lot of curry there, so your teammate was pushing you all the way to the end.
Yeah, definitely no team orders with that one. Yeah, he was pushing me.
Yeah, and decided that you had enough of the Ford GT at the end and decided to bin it.
Oh no, I was actually trying to get the power down to hold Darren off. The tyres were shot, and as I was trying to come out of the corner on the curb, every time I went for the throttle, it just kept spinning, and once I got across the line, I let go. So yeah, one of those things.
Yeah, it's a funny thing with the tyres. They really don't like being tortured too much, do they?
Yeah, no, definitely not. And after 80 minutes of that, they were had it. So yeah, they didn't like it.
Yeah, a bit of work to do to get that set up right on that Ford, didn't there?
Oh yeah, I think by the last race we might get a handle on it, but yeah, like I said, we put it in here because we knew no one else would be in it, so I was just trying to have a bit of fun and, hopefully the viewers enjoy seeing it out on track.
Yeah, definitely throws that extra car in that we're missing in iRacing, and the paint scheme on there. Kent does an awesome job on these cars, and it certainly pops on screen with the paint jobs.
Yeah, if it went as fast as it looks, I'd be very happy.
I think they're all like that. I think even Colin wishes that his Macca would go a little bit quicker than what it does.
Yeah, better tyres would be good. The Macca chews the tyres up too much.
Yeah, so we were watching the race there, and I'm sure that a few guys there were throwing tyres, especially the Macca drivers there. It looks like they were a little bit longer in the pit stops.
I think we were a bit conservative on the fuel, so we took about a lap too much, which hurt us a bit in the pit stops. But to stay up the front, there's no way to take tyres because we lose too much time. So we just had to suck it up and just drive with the worn tyres as they went through the race.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worry there with the Macca. I suppose that's its really Achilles heel now is that it just abuses those tyres too much.
Yeah, I think it's the nature of the track. Suzuka kind of really hammers the front tyres, so we were aware that was going to happen because the Bathurst round, for example, it wasn't that bad, and even last week's one at Sonoma, it wasn't that bad. It got a little dicey towards the end, but the Suzuka round really hammered the fronts.
Yeah, and we've got a week off for the Australian GT3, but the next race, forgive me, but I don't remember where that's at. How do you think the Macca's going to go?
I'm not sure where we are.
Next one's Road America, so based on previous experience, it's not that hard on tyres, so given the nature of the track, I'm expecting all three cars to be competitive there. Later on in the series, when we go to somewhere like Watkins, the Macca's going to have the edge simply because of the tyre wear won't be as high. So we've tried to pick tracks that give each car in the series an opportunity. When we picked this one, we sort of knew the rough would be pretty good around here, as well as the BMW. So as we go through the series, there's different tracks for different cars, and that's what we tried to lean towards when picking the tracks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting at Road America. I think the Macca will have the edge, just because we'll run it with minimum wing just to get down the straights quick, and I think that will just give us the edge. At least when we try to pass people, we should fly past, and then just have to hold them up in the corners.
Yeah, we've been watching it here. Suzuka's a good track to see strengths and weaknesses on these cars, and it looks like that rough has still got that advantage in a straight line. We could see it there. It could just pull away a little bit quicker than the Macca, but it's definitely not that far away at the moment. And the BMW is just so strong getting into the corner and braking. So it definitely played out well for the Beamers, especially in the hands of Lewis tonight. He definitely drove the wheels off that BMW and just jumped you and Braden in the pit stops at the end, mate.
Yeah, I mean they've done a good job with balancing the cars. There's not too much in them. They've all got strengths and weaknesses. And yeah, Lewis, I don't know how he got that extra lap out of it, because my car was blinking minimum fuel. It had like 0.3 of a litre left in it when I came in. And yeah, he just managed to squeeze that extra lap, and then he obviously went a little tighter on the fuel, and just enough to get past.
Yeah, he was battling Baden for a fair while, and I think he saved his fuel there with Baden being behind his draft, so that sort of helped him out there a little bit. But no, it was good to see that the Macca was okay and doing all right. But yeah, it was good to see, and good to see you up near the pointy end again, Colin. It's been a while since we've seen you up there.
Yeah, we've been going all right. It's good to finish up the front. I mean, I didn't expect much out of today's race because I qualified it back in the mid-pack, which is a bit disappointing because I was only half a second off pole, but it stuck me at the mid-pack. But yeah, I mean, the opening few laps, it kind of just parted in front of me, and I found myself in 5th within like a lap or two.
Yeah, it's a bit hard trying to beat yourself up a little bit, I think, with qualifying, especially when you get 10 guys within a second. So it just shows the quality and the speed that everyone's got at the moment.
Yeah, it's very competitive. It's very, very difficult to stay up the front. And there's probably there's 10 or 11 people that can challenge for the win, and then there's the whole grid can challenge for the podium. So especially with the way the tyres fall off, it doesn't. After 70 minutes, it doesn't take much of a wiggle, and then you find yourself in the wall. So yeah, it's quite good and quite competitive.
Yeah, no, great. And I'll hand you over Bernie now, because I'm sure he's itching to ask quite a few questions, knowing Bernie there. And look, it's good to see you boys put on a great series here at the moment, and I'll be happy to watch you again in a fortnight's time, and I'm sure I'll see you guys on track next week as well.
Thanks, AJ.
Yeah, I don't really have that many questions to ask, guys. I think Adrian's pretty much asked them. I guess there was a few incidents we saw in the race, and they'll be reviewed, and I'll let our viewers know next fortnight what, if any, penalties were issued on that. But I guess looking at the Australian Endurance Championship, are you guys entered into that?
Yeah, the team's got a HPD and a DP entered in the 24-hour one for that one, Bernie.
Fantastic. Well, it'll be a good race, I'm sure. And it looked like your team, TD Racing, tonight had some pretty strong drivers out there, with Timothy up there and Colin battling it out, and so that's pretty good.
We've got a pretty good lineup now, so the whole team sort of works really well together, and we've got the older boys like Aaron and Colin and Tim there that have been around a while, and the experience and the suggestions they got for the younger drivers are starting to pay off too, like with young Zach that's joined us. Unfortunately, Riley couldn't be here tonight. He had a computer failure after a blackout this afternoon, but as a team we're starting to get there now, and we're pretty happy with the way things are progressing.
Yeah, definitely. Zachary was having a good drive there. It looked like he was getting a bit untidy as the race progressed, and that's probably getting used to driving a Macca with no tyres, which is probably like trying to ride a bareback bull with nothing to hold on to.
Yeah, I found the Ford was like that with about 25 minutes to go. You're trying to feed the power, and it just kept wanting to light the rears up as you saw when it come across the line. So it takes time and patience, and these young fellas are just getting quicker and quicker, and once they get that little bit of extra knowledge from the more experienced boys, they'll be up and flying every race.
Yeah, that's right. It's a bit of a learning curve, but they're definitely in the team to get the knowledge that you guys have got, and especially with Colin and Timothy in the team. And it was good to see, Colin, you fighting it out with your brother there for a while.
Yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, and I'll take a dive if there's a gap there. There's no, we don't have that much respect for each other, so we'll just pass even if we run each other off the road. So it's good fun to have a bit of a battle.
Yeah, it certainly is. No, it was a very entertaining race, guys, so congratulations on that. And we're definitely looking forward to seeing you guys on the track during the Australian Endurance Championship. And I definitely hope during the race you guys might pop in and just update us on some inside team strategy goss or something we can tell our viewers.
We certainly will.
Yeah, we don't plan too much. We usually just wing these things as we go.
Yeah, no worries. But before we let you go, do you want to give a shout out to all your sponsors and for tonight's race? Yeah.
So our major sponsor is Carnet Auctions. So they help us out with the team for putting up our websites and TeamSpeak servers, and they're helping to run this series. So that's Carnet Auctions. So if you're in the market to buy or sell a car, so you can have a look at them at www.carnet.com.au, and they help us out, and go visit them. And GLW Freight Management still looking after us. So go check them all out.
Fantastic, and it's great to see Carnet Auctions backing this fantastic series. So folks, if you're after a car, go to carnet.com.au and check them all out. But thanks Colin and Tim for popping in, and we look forward to catching up with you next week.
Thanks, Bernie. See you then, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie and Adrian.
So Adrian, we're at that time of the night where we look at Drive of the Day. Have you got any nominations for that?
Oh man, Bernie, there's so many. You could go Scott for getting that car on the pole and just leading from the front. That was a feat in itself to get it there. I mean, Gary to bring his car through the back, Lewis to get up into third. That's no mean feat actually. That one, that they'd probably have to be high on my list, and even Baden, you know, having a lose. So Gary, Lewis and Baden having a lose and then getting their cars up towards the pointy end is no mean feat. But yeah, I think I'm still heading towards Lewis. That was quite a drive from him tonight.
Yeah, well, you can be sure, folks, that if I'm not sure who driver of the night's going to be, I'll definitely let Adrian decide, and then I just agree with him. So congratulations, Lewis Kugley, for drive of the day. It was a good drive by the Blackadder Motorsport driver, especially when you think he's also competing in the Daytona 24 Hours, and his car in that is running 9th. So it shows a big commitment to jump into this series when you're also in the thick of a race in another series.
Well, that's it, Bernie, and you know, it shows dedication to your racing, regardless. And if you can squeeze it in, they'll do it. And I'll tell you what, some of these guys actually do a lot more. You know, they'll do 3 hours, 4 hours on this 24 hours of Daytona, and then they'll come off and do a league race for a couple of hours. So it just goes to show the dedication and the strengths that these drivers have sometimes.
Yeah, it certainly does. But folks, we are getting to the end of our broadcast here tonight, and it's been a fantastic race. But for all you guys that are looking for more racing through the week, go and check out tomorrow night. We'll be back at 9:15 p.m. for the Monday Night Light Skip Barber race. It's a 1-hour official iRacing race, and we're getting quite a few Europeans over, and it's well worth a watch. But apart from that, we will be back next Saturday night to bring you the Australian Endurance Championship Round 1, which is the Daytona 24 Hours. And for all our viewers out there, if you want more racing tonight, go and check out the iRacing special event, which is now on air, showing the final 6 hours of the Daytona 24 Hours, and I think they're due to finish at 12 p.m. midnight tonight. But anyway, Adrian, as always, it's been great having you up here, and I've appreciated your commentary. Fantastic job once again.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. I got to thank you for letting me come up here. Probably the only silly one to let me in a booth and have a ramble on all night long. But it's great to be up here. Awesome racing again by the boys out there in the Australian GT3 Championship at the moment. Just calibre drivers out there, and it just goes to show the strengths that we have in Australia and in our iRacing community. And you know, keep bringing it on. This is just getting better and better as we go.
Yeah, it's definitely going from strength to strength, and I'm quite excited about where this community could go with their racing. But anyway, Adrian, it's time to say goodnight, I think. So thanks for popping in, and I'll see you next Saturday night, hopefully, to do some calling for the Australian Endurance Championship.
Certainly will, Bernie.
Fantastic, folks. Well, thank to all you out there that have watched our broadcast tonight, I thank you personally. If you've liked this video, give it the thumbs up, and if you want to see more RRTV racing action, subscribe to our channel. But on behalf of Adrian Jarvis, I'm Bernie Wiemers, and thank you for watching RRTV.